eccsa.co.za.
Thank you for joining us. It's just after 3 o'clock.
This is EWN.
The state alleges Brown Mokhotsi tried to escape from jail, and the Madlanga Commission hears of links between Maumela and Msibi. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Self-proclaimed political fixer Brown Mokhotsi allegedly put together a plan to escape from prison. The allegation has been made by the state in the Johannesburg Magistrates Court today, where Mokhotsi is applying for bail again. In a statement, the investigating officer says the plot was discovered by Joburg prison officials. It's alleged Mokhotsi planned to disguise himself as a corrections official and walk out of the court cells during his last appearance. Mokhotsi has been in custody since his arrest in May for allegedly assassination attempt last year. Dimakatso Leshoro has more.
According to the statement read into the record by State Advocate Tamim Pekana, after Correctional Services officials caught wind of Brown Mokhotsi's alleged escape plan, the head of Medium B at the Johannesburg prison instructed that Mokhotsi be fitted with leg irons to minimize the risk of escape.
Colonel Masenya informed me that Mr. Brown Mokhotsi has planned an escape from court on the 20th of August 2026.
Investigating Officer Alfred Orendal says he has obtained a statement from Colonel Masenya. However, this report was not presented in court and will be presented when Mokhotsi next appears. Mpekana told the court this allegation makes Mokhotsi a flight risk. Mokhotsi is seeking bail for the third time. He also approached the Johannesburg High Court where his bail appeal was dismissed. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg Magistrates Court.
The Madlanga Commission has heard testimony of alleged links between controversial businessman Hangwani Maumela and alleged cartel boss Jotham Msibi. The Commission is continuing to hear testimony from alleged crime kingpin Vusumuzikat Matlala today. During his testimony, Matlala has given details of his relationship with Maumela, claiming they connected over their love for sports cars and ended up in the tendering business together. Matlala and Maumela have been flagged by the SIU in multi-million rand corruption at the Tembisa Hospital. Khomotso Modise reports.
When Vusumuzikat Matlala testified at the Madlanga Commission last week, he told the Commission that he was not friends with alleged Big Five cartel leader Jotham Msibi, but Msibi considered him a son who he did business with, like providing security services. Evidence leaders have revisited this theme today.
He will ask for random things, yes.
Like what?
Like I remember when he wanted to buy a Rolex for the wife, and then he asked me where can he get a Rolex, and then I told him where I bought mine, and then things like that. So
now Matlala has drawn the first direct link between Msibi and controversial businessman Hangwani Maumela, saying he introduced Maumela to Msibi. Matlala has testified about Maumela wanting to sell a Pagani Huayra, a car with a multi-million rand price tag, and needing Msibi to organize a buyer. His testimony continues. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
The state is opposing the release of a prominent Durban businessman on bail, citing his links to crime intelligence. The 65-year-old has been appearing in the Durban Magistrates Court today, where he faces charges including human trafficking, sexual assault and kidnapping. It's alleged he and his co-accused lured women from Johannesburg to Durban on the false promise of jobs, but the women were allegedly forced into prostitution. Tabiso Koba reports.
In his bail affidavits, the 65-year-old businessman says his wife, daughter and brother-in-law used to work for SAP's crime intelligence and no longer do. The state alleges he still has networks within SAP's crime intelligence. It says if he's released on bail, there is a possibility the businessman can use these networks to trace the witnesses and intimidate them. The court also heard the businessman has previous convictions of culpable homicide, drug dealing, bribery and defeating the ends of justice. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News, Durban.
Proceedings in the reopened inquest into the death of anti-apartheid activist Steve Biko have stalled once again following a postponement application by Biko's family. The family is asking for more time to adequately prepare for the inquest after only securing legal representation yesterday. The matter returned to the Gqeberha High Court today following funding-related delays. The Justice Department has now agreed to cover the family's legal costs, with Biko's widow, Nontsigelelo, expected to testify during the inquest. Her lawyer, Ngqiqo Sakela, told the Gqeberha High Court that the family has a right to properly prepare its case.
This case is about the interest of the family. Even if the inquest would want, the court would want to proceed in the inquest, but the interest of the family is at the center of this inquest. Hence, we are saying, my lord, we request that indulgence so that the family will be given enough time to prepare.
Biko died in 1977 from injuries sustained while in police detention. His death is being probed again as no one has ever been held criminally liable. While in Europe, the top human rights court has ordered the immediate release of civil society leader Osman Kavala. Kavala has been in custody for over a decade after he was sentenced to life for attempting to overthrow the government. The court has found that his conviction and detention in Turkey was null and void. It also ordered the government to pay more than 113,000 euros to the 68-year-old who was then arrested. Kavala was charged over a wave of 2013 anti-government protests that posed the first serious challenge to the increasingly dominant rule of Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Gold is trading at $4,644.80 an ounce. The rand is at 15.98 to the dollar, 21.79 to the pound, 18.64 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $90.64 a barrel.
Slow-moving traffic in the four-ways area on Winnie Mandela Drive approaching Witkoppen. Also look out for those faulty traffic lights in Rand Park Ridge at Beyers Naudé and Jim Forshire.
In your sport, the Lions looking to test their systems against the All Blacks. Cole Palmer stars as Chelsea kick off their Premier League season with a London derby win. And Maketa van Rosva appeals to the Court of Arbitration for Sport against her 4-year doping ban.
It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 24 and 26 degrees. The top story in EWN, self-proclaimed political fixer Brown Mokhotsi allegedly put together a plan to escape from prison.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is 9 minutes past 3 on Tuesday, the 25th of August. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Welcome to the show. Applying for bail is always tricky with an element of touch and go, no matter how good a case you think you have. But your position isn't really helped when the prosecution testifies that you're planning on leaving custody anyway.
New information came to light on the 20th of August 2026 at 7:29 in the morning. I received a phone call from Colonel Masenya from Johannesburg Correctional Services Center. 20. Colonel Masenya informed me that Mr. Brown Mokhotsi has planned an escape from court on the 20th of August 2026. He informed me that the plan is that he would disguise in the uniform of correctional official and would walk out of the court cells.
That was evidence laid in the course of political fixer Brown Mokhotsi's fourth bail application today. More details coming up shortly with EWN's Dimakatso Lishoro. President Cyril Ramaphosa is answering questions in Parliament. We'll keep an eye on that. And at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, Vusimuzi Matlala is still in the witness seat.
I think that I first met Mr. Maumela, I'll be around 2015, 2016, somewhere around there. And my relationship with him, it was because both we have passion for sports cars. So there is this restaurant that we both we used to frequent in that restaurant somewhere in Sandton. So we used to meet each other there, and then because I like this car, and then that's when we started our relationship because of the love of cars.
Vusimuzi Matlala, Khomotso Modise, they're keeping an eye on things. You heard her a moment ago in Mbali Dlamini's bulletin. Updates regularly from the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry with Khomotso in all our regular bulletins on the hour and the half hour. And she'll be with us, Khomotso, that is at about 10 minutes past 5. For a wrap on what has already been a very, very interesting day. Now, the Madlanga Commission is a central thread in a quite remarkable book that has its Johannesburg launch tonight. Journalist Karen Dolly, who is now publishing her 5th book, all of them looking at organized crime in South Africa. It's called The Untouchables, Drug Lords, Dirty Cops, and South Africa's Darkest Secrets. She'll be joining me at 4 o'clock. We're going to spend some time going through as much as we can in the book. We certainly won't get to all of it, but it's something I would really recommend you get a copy of and have a read of, because from what I can see and from what I've gleaned from my read through it, there's some quite fascinating stuff there. Karen Dolly with us at 10 past 4. The Carlton Centre is up for sale. Give Transnet a ring if you're interested on 011 308 3000. That's 011 308 3000 if you fancy buying the Carlton Centre. But who would be interested in buying it, actually? Property expert Ash Muller has some ideas. She's with me at 10 to 4. And since getting out of custody without authorization is very much in the news at the moment, we thought we'd make that our musical theme for today. What's your favorite song with the word escape in the title? Just in case you're thinking of this one, it is, I'm afraid, already taken.
If I could escape and recreate a place that's my own world, and I could be your favorite girl forever, perfectly together, and tell me, boy, now wouldn't that be sweet? If I could be
Yeah, I'm afraid Gwen Stefani gone and out of sight, but don't worry at all, because we did an internet search. How many songs have the word escape in the title? I think there was more than 150, so you're good. Start sending those, please, on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. On the markets today, a couple of barriers have been broken. I wouldn't say shattered, but broken nonetheless. The rand has moved below 16 rand to the dollar. Oil has dropped below the $90 mark for a barrel of Brent crude. Good news on both fronts. The oil share is pretty flat today, up by just 35 points. Northam is the pick of the bulls, up by 6.5%, with Goldfields also having a good day, up by 3%. South 32 has gained 1.5%, Standard Bank up by 1.4%. On the downside, Sasol has lost 5.2%. Datatech, which had a really big day yesterday, giving quite a bit back, having lost 4.7%. Canal Plus off by 4.2%. The rand, as I mentioned, trading at 15 rand 98 against the dollar, 18.64 against the euro. That's a 4-cent positive shift for our currency, and 21 rand 79 against the pound. That's another 4-cent gain for the rand. Interesting, those two, of course, because our strength against the dollar very much put down to dollar weakness. Pretty much everyone is gaining on the US currency at the moment, but nevertheless, gains against the euro and the pound suggesting the rand is in good shape. The gold price is down by $18.24 so far today. Platinum weaker by $26.90. A barrel of Brent crude is currently trading at $89.56 an ounce. The price falling by $1.40 so far today. More market news with Muteo Juaripe at 25 past 4. Tolakele Mganga has the sport. There seems to be quite a bit of talk around the fitness of Sia Kulisi. I'm hoping for an update on that what a difference he would make if he could lead the team on Saturday, in my opinion at least. Karabo Chali has the traffic news and Bali Tlamini back at 3:30 with the very latest news headlines. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live. We bring you the news as soon as we know about it, but if there's stuff we don't know about it because you know about it before we do, please do get in touch. 072 702 1702 011 883 0702 702 Drive at 16 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So whenever I hear about the Carlton Centre or indeed the Carlton Hotel and, even the ice rink that used to be across the road from it, I think the first ice rink at the Carlton was in the sort of area that you look down on from the balcony, a big circular space. That's my recollection, but I might have mixed up a couple of things. What would you call that area below? Not the concourse. Anyway, we'll come up with it. Your Carlton Centre memories, please share them with us. What are they? 011 883 0702 072 702 1702. I went there many times. I probably went there between the ages of, I'll have to check when it was built, but probably between the ages of 12 and 30. So I had a good run visiting the Carlton for various things. Jonathan Fairbairn, growing up out on the West Strand, the Carlton Centre.
Afternoon, John, and afternoon to the 702 listeners. I mean, I used to hear a lot about the Carlton Centre. It had a big ice rink, nice movie complex, and we went there once when I was a youngster, and I can't even remember what we did there. We definitely didn't go to the ice rink.
Yes.
Or to the movies there, but I do remember walking through. But, in terms of the specific memories of what we did there, it escapes me. But only once ever did I go to the Carlton.
And never to the hotel, hey?
No, never to the hotel.
Hotel was a cool place for lunch. I remember when I was working for, in those days, the Weekly Mail, then the Mail and Guardian, we twice had offices close by. So it was a place to stroll over and have a special lunch once in a while.
Nice.
Karabo Chali, Carlton Centre memories.
Yeah, I've been there many, many times. I used to spend a lot of afternoons after school watching movies on Tuesdays. Sometimes we'd even bunk some classes. So we can just spend the whole day there watching movies. I remember we also used to sneak in some snacks. We would go and buy some snacks at the Clicks and buy our cold drinks, our chips, and then put it in the bag and then sneak it into the cinema. Fun times. Several dates I've been to there as well. But unfortunately, I missed the ice ring and the ice ring days. I think it was already closed down when I started going there. Yeah.
And fabulous views from the top of the Carlton Centre, the 50th floor. You could see for absolute miles. We've got a nice post on that from Eldon that I'll share in a moment. He's highlighting all the different stores that you could visit and browse through. Carlton Centre memories, please, on 072 702 1702. 19 minutes past 3. Let's give you the latest traffic.
Well, at this stage, John, in four ways, there's slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive approaching Witkopp, and this is due to ongoing roadworks. Otherwise, the rest of 702 land looking pretty good. No accidents have been reported on our highways at this stage. However, just look out for those faulty traffic lights in Edenville, Morafontein Road and Van Riebeck. There's also traffic lights not working in four ways at Monte Cassino Boulevard and Witkoppen. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
It's interesting how we are able to raise the profile of an individual to the point where that person is called professor. When the moment of reckoning comes, we discover that actually this is just a nice auntie from KwaZulu-Natal. I'm talking about Mary Diaz. Remember, I've been asking them, I was told this one is deep in her understanding of current affairs. Then she started to speak and I said, come on, man. There are just some people that are just imposters. You see them from far, you say, that one, even the walk is not right. Neither walk.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Nothing's better than getting more than you bargain for. Like when your business relationships get personal.
Jonas, you're invited to my family bride this weekend. Bring your wife.
Enjoy more work and more play in the GWM P300 with 135 kilowatts of krag. from only $5,799 per month. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and to book a test drive. GWM, go with more. Brought to you by GWM Finance, a division of Westbank, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Experience the race day rush with Hollywood Bets and Jetix. Activate aviation adrenaline for a chance to win one of 2 once-in-a-lifetime ultimate Abu Dhabi Grand Prix experiences and your share of 1 million rand in cash. Ready to go full throttle? Bet 10 rand or more on Jetix and you could jet off to the United Arab Emirates. Competition runs 10 August to 30 September 2026. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
It's a good thing you're naked when pulling into a petrol station. Because what if the pedal you just stamped on wasn't the brake? With Naked, you can submit your accident claim instantly on the app. Go to naked.insure now and get comprehensive car insurance at a lower premium. Because when bad things happen, it's a good thing you're naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
702 proudly presents the Dina Letty stage at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz 2026.
We're gonna have some fun. You guys ready?
This is Jazz Reignited.
Jazz.
Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive. I'm just looking at a number of rugby websites. This is from Planet Rugby, saying that Siya Kolisi will start Saturday's greatest rivalry second test against the All Blacks in Cape Town. They cite Springboks head coach Rassie Erasmus. They were talking, or the coach was talking on Monday about Siya Kolisi going through a fitness test, but an update just in. This is about 5 minutes ago. And it's confirmed by a number of other sources. SABC Television had it a little bit earlier. Rugby 365 is also confirming. I think it makes a huge difference. I really do. Having him, apart from what he contributes as captain, I think he's also a player of particular importance, and Rassie Erasmus highlighted that in certain aspects of the play, particularly at the breakdowns. But I think it's a really, really good lift. Paul de Villiers had an excellent game. I think at one point was leading all players in number of tackles made. But give us your thoughts. I mean, is that a big, big lift for a team? I think in need of a lift, not in a desperate state, but certainly with a knock to its confidence. Looks like the skipper will start. Good news as far as I'm concerned. Give me your thoughts, though, on 072 7021 702, 24 minutes past 3.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
But let's go to the courts now, where Brown Mukhotsi, described by various people as a political fixer. Some people contest his claim that he was some kind of police informant, but he was trying to get bail at the fourth attempt today, and then it all went rather pear-shaped, I think it's fair to say, when evidence was led that he was actually planning to escape from the court cells sometime last week. Dimakatso Lishoro is with us because she's our EWN colleague who's been covering this court case. Dimakatso, very good afternoon to you. Quite dramatic stuff, I would say. How did Mr. Mukhotsi respond when evidence was led about his plans to escape? Good afternoon to you.
Hi, John. His legal team was basically shocked, it seemed, because they, just told the court that every time Brown Mukhotsi tries to bring a bail application, there's new evidence. If you recall, this would have been the third time that they've been to the Johannesburg Magistrates Court to bring a bail application. The first time we were told that he gave 3 wrong addresses and then proceeded to try to bribe the investigating officer in the matter. That was reported in court. We don't know what happened to that because that has been no mention of any charges or anything like that being laid or added, in fact, to the charges that he faces. And the second time when he went to bring a bail application on what he called new facts, there were allegations that he himself called a neighbor to try and persuade the neighbor to confirm to police that, in fact, they knew him and he lived around that area. We understand then that his wife actually went to the neighbor's house and allegedly tried to intimidate this lady to try to corroborate their version that they know him and they know where he lives. We understand that a case of intimidation was opened to the police station in Mahikeng, in the area in which they live. But we heard in court today that actually the NPA there has declined to prosecute this case. And today, when you bring this bail application, this third bail application, we are hearing now that apparently, he tried to escape, because what has happened is that when he came to court on, again, new facts, he says that his wife has now signed a new lease agreement with an owner, a valid or verifiable owner of a property, John, if you'll believe. They're alleging that the previous lease agreement was signed with someone who purported to be the owner of the property but wasn't. They say they didn't know this fact, and hence why the owner of that property, when they went there, was not able to verify because he didn't know them. And they say that some person impersonated this owner. Today they're saying they've signed an agreement that can be verified. They're alleging that they've got now an address. But it's the first time we hear about in Johannesburg where Mokgotsi can be found if they were to look for him. So, very interesting, very confusing. I mean, I had a brief chat with the prosecutor.
Right.
And he was saying that, initially they had no intentions of opposing bail. And they just said to him, give us an address that we can verify and we'll give you bail. But that never happened. And we found ourselves in this situation where we are.
Goodness me, what a tale of various bail bids, but very clearly set out in its long and rather bewildering timeline, actually. I mean, some of the things coming up in the court are really quite surprising. Dimakatso Leshoro, thank you sharing that with us and keeping an eye on what happens next. Eldon, in terms of the Carlton Centre, says, I have many happy memories of the Carlton Centre. I arrived in Joburg during January of 1985, together with my then girlfriend and now wife of 39 years. On the first day we rode up to the 50th floor, we experienced breathtaking and stunning views of the city centre and far-flung surrounding areas. There were stores like C&A, Dean's, Men's Fashion, Smiley Blue and the Maharani restaurant, to name but a few of them. My wife and I, together with a friend and his wife, who lived in a flat on a block located at the intersection of President and Small Street in the CBD, had lunch at the Maharani. We celebrated our wedding day union at the venue and have many fond memories of our time having lived in the Jozi CBD. Calling in to talk about this, Lindiwe Zulu, ANC NEC member. Ms. Zulu, welcome. Good afternoon. Carlton Centre Memories. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, thank you, John. Hey, John, those are very good memories. When we got back from exile, my husband and I, we lived in Hillbrow. We were working in Shell House. Later on, we set up the whole communications infrastructure for the ANC pre-1994. That's where we used to have our press conferences with Ronnie Mamwepa, Balega Mbete, and all of them. That's one of the greatest memories I have. But on the social side, we lived in Hillbrow, and then we used to take the kids to the Sky Ring for skating.
Okay.
Never mind the movies and the restaurants there.
Did you skate?
I tried, but I fell too many times and I gave up.
That is what happens when you learn to skate. You fall, but you're not supposed to give up. But your kids,
I gave up.
You gave up. But the kids,
I gave up.
Did the kids continue? Was it just a thing to try and move on?
The kids continued, believe me. And the kids and the neighbors' kids, I used to be almost like the taxi driver for them because we only had one son who was small at the time.
Yes.
Then we had to take the other neighbors' kids because I just loved the outing for them. I've got very good memories. I hope it rises again to some special occasion.
Thank you, Lindiwe Zulu. Memories of the 90s, the early 90s on the one hand, being part of the ANC setting up communication structures in the Carlton Centre, and then on the social side, as she put it, taking kids to go ice skating. Yeah, I tried ice skating first out at Wembley and then went to the Carlton Centre. Wasn't great, but I wasn't too bad. And yeah, you do fall quite a bit. 29 minutes to 4. Right, let's get the very latest eyewitness news now. Plenty of things going on, and Bali Dlamini is keeping a very close eye on what exactly is happening, starting, I believe, down in Parliament.
That's correct, John. A very good afternoon. The Home Affairs Department has presented Parliament with updated costs for the recent mass repatriation of undocumented migrants. It says it spent almost 400 million rand since May, but more than half of that amount was not budgeted for. South Africa recently undertook a process to send thousands of undocumented migrants back to their home countries amid a wave of anti-illegal immigration demonstrations. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
The Border Management Authority says almost 90,000 people have left the country over the last 3 months. Besides the 232 million rand cost of road transport, Home Affairs Chief Financial Officer Gordon Hollenby says government has spent almost 9 million rand chartering flights to Ethiopia, the DRC, Nigeria and Burundi.
By the 19th of August, expenditure by the inspector is sitting at close to 400 million, so making it a 220 mil overspent currently.
Hollenby revealed that he has overridden the expenditure to allow for municipalities and service providers to be paid. But ANC MP Molobeheng Mpia says taxpayers should not have to foot the repatriation bill.
What would be then the plan from the department to ensuring that they really pursue that these countries really respond towards making sure that they reimburse?
Hollenby says diplomatic channels are being used to encourage reimbursement. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The case against 3 men accused of killing 2 anti-gang unit officers and 2 women in Reiche Park will continue with the assigned magistrate in the Boksburg Magistrates Court. This after both the state and defence indicated they had no issue with Magistrate Sipho Manana presiding over the matter. Manana checked on their level of comfort after he revealed that he previously presided over a separate matter involving one of the accused. The 3 suspects appeared in court today to apply for bail following their arrest in connection with the mass murder earlier this month. Mongezi Gogo reports.
The question of recusal emerged as the 3 accused continued their formal bail application in the Boksburg Magistrates Court. Magistrate Sipho Manana told the court that he had previously presided over a separate bail matter involving accused number 1 Regan Collins. He then asked the state and the defence whether his previous involvement with Collins could create any concern about him continuing to hear the current matter. But both sides agreed that there was no reason for the magistrate to recuse himself. Manana will therefore continue to preside over the bail application of Collins, Meyer and Crawford.
Considering that there is no objection between the state and the defense, I will assume that we should proceed with this bail application.
Collins is also facing several other pending cases, including 2 counts of murder and attempted murder. Mongezi Gogo, Eyewitness News.
And in France, 2 people are in a critical condition in hospital after a tornado hit the village of Pomas in the south of the country. The tornado has left thousands of people in the dark after it also affected electricity supply. It left a trail of destruction with around 300 homes being destroyed. At a police checkpoint earlier, relatives and friends of those affected waited for permission to enter the affected area to bring in supplies. France sees several tornadoes of various intensity each and every year. Well, it's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 24 and 26 degrees.
4 ways slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive approaching Witkoppen due to roadworks, while in Sandton heading towards the M1, expect some delays on Grayston Drive between Rivonia Road and Catherine Street.
The top story in EWN. The Home Affairs Department has presented Parliament with updated costs for the recent mass repatriation of undocumented migrants.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays.
12 to 1.
Was there anything wrong in the DA's mind having two people at an ANC rally like this?
No, we don't think that there is at all. Being in a political election, you're watching what your opponents are doing, and we saw that this was an open rally for anybody to attend, and we thought, well, why not?
Why would DA members degrade themselves to that level? It's not like there was something special. The ANC, they're just running a poverty system. They even brag about, we instituted to the Mazanga Commission, to deal with their own corruption.
The Midday Report.
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
A bigger and better national lottery is here. Play Powerball, Lotto, Daily Lotto, Match Play, and Instant Games. It's your chance to win big. Available at participating retailers, online, and on your banking app. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sisakai.
Need a new appliance? Upgrade with Checker 6060 and we'll deliver today. Monday morning, Nespresso's calling. Let's go 6060. Bad hair day, Dyson's on the way. Let's go 6060. Cleaning hour with Karcher power. Let's go 6060. Newsmaker toaster for the boaster. Let's go 6060. Shop our wide range of home, kitchen, and beauty appliances on Checker 6060 and get it delivered today. Let's go 6060.
This advert is paid for by the political party concerned.
Ish, I love my hometown, but for too long now, I look around and think we deserve better than this. The water goes off for days, the streets are falling apart, and things never get fixed. Look, I'm not asking for anything fancy. I just want basics to work. And I know they can work because I've seen it where the Democratic Alliance is in charge. I want our town to work for all. So in this election, I'm voting DA.
This advert was paid for by the political party concerned.
702.
Call John
on 011
883
0702.
Okay, let's take a call. We're doing Carlton Centre, Carlton Hotel, Carlton Ice Rink memories. All of this prompted by the fact that Transnet is trying to sell the Carlton Centre. We'll talk to property analyst Ash Muller fairly shortly about who might buy it and what might they do with it once the ink has dried on the deal. But Andre has some memories from Glen Vista. Hi, Andre. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, John. How are you doing?
Yeah, well, you.
Well, thank you. Now, yes, 1978, Rivoli High, we had our matric ball on the top of the Carlton Hotel.
Fancy, man. That must have been something.
Well, yes. And then in 1983, my wife and I got engaged in the Carlton Hotel.
Yeah.
And just a few years ago also, I did some steel work around by the Sky Rink.
Oh, what's happening at the Sky Rink there? I mean, what kind of work?
No, I was just doing some steel work around at the bottom because the pedestrians were actually sitting on the windowsills.
Oh.
And there was a call center on the inside.
Ah, okay.
And on the top, they turned it into studios for for these productions. Our
TV and so on.
Sievendelaan and those things were shot there now.
Andre, thank you, and wonderful memories shared. Wow, matric dance at the top of the Carlton Centre. I can tell you mine. 2 years before that was in the school cafeteria, I think, or the hall, or I don't know what we called it, but it was, it wasn't at the top of the Carlton, and an engagement to follow. Interestingly enough, when I was chatting about this with Rilebogile, she said, weren't there some TV studios in the area where the ice rink was, and Andre confirming exactly that. Couple more of your voice notes, Carlton Centre memories, please.
John, this is Simon from Dorenkop. Talking about the Carlton Centre, 33 years ago, that's where I got a yes for marriage to my wife. When I proposed, on top, on the 50th floor, there used to be a restaurant there. I forget the name. And I proposed, and I got a yes. 33 years later, still married to that woman. Dolly, my wife, Budikwe. still together after 33 years. So Carlton Center carries good memories for me. Thank you.
Hi, John. Geez, so many memories on Carlton Center. I went to school in Auckland Park, so we used to walk to town before we catch the cab back home. So Carlton Center was the epicenter of where all the youth used to converge. In the Kini Center, whether you're watching movies, whether you're buying designer labels, Escape Island, Muracini, Girani, all the shops were there. Surrounding areas as well, just immediately outside of Carlton Center, you had some matinees, LBZ, masquerades. So that was the area of promise, if you will. Orinia from Eldorado Park.
Carlton Center does bring back memories. Hey, I tell you, early 80s, living in Hillbrow, weekend comes along and you just take a walk down to the Carlton Center and you go down to the ice rink. That was the highlight of our weekends. And even now, I hear the song One Night in Bangkok and instantly my mind is on that ice again, skating around, having fun. Wow, what an experience, what a memory.
One night in Bangkok in the world's your oyster. The bars are temples, but the pulse ain't free. You'll find a god in every golden oyster. And if you're lucky, then
Yeah. For me, it was more like one night on banged knees. That was for me after skating. Thank you for all of those. Really enjoying it. Someone mentioned the club called Masquerades. And I seem to remember they had a sign there that always puzzled me because it said masquerades when you're tired of the charade. But I thought it was pronounced charade. So then I thought, is it pronounced masquerades? And every time I went past there, I asked myself that question. Never had an answer. Never went to masquerades. I never was tired of the charade rod. Okay, so let's just tell you about this now. Coming up at the end of this week, the 28th to the 30th of August, the Festival of Motoring. It's powered by Westbank, and it's held at the Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. What that means is energy, excitement, and adrenaline, all of it linked to motoring. What the Festival of Motoring does is it puts you at the heart of the action. There's all sorts of things going on. You can get on the track and there's some fabulous experiences to be had. There are performance cars to look at. There are 4x4 adventures to take part in. All of this with the iconic Kyalami racetrack in the background. This is something you go to experience. You're not just there to watch. And it really appeals to a range of people. Maybe you're a serious petrol head interested in cars and knowing a lot about them, or maybe just looking for an exciting day out with the adrenaline rush of fantastic and high-powered vehicles as part of the day's entertainment. There'll be cars, of course, there'll be experiences, entertainment, food, and the motoring community together in one place for 3 glorious days of motoring, energy, and entertainment. It is the Festival of Motoring, powered by Westbank at the Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit from the 28th to the 30th of August. Tickets are now available on Howler. Don't just hear about it. Hear about it from people and say, oh, I wish I had. Don't do that. Just go. Get onto Howler. Get your tickets now. But before you do that, let's give you a chance to actually go as our guest. We're giving away again, and we'll do it the whole of this week, leading up, of course, to the start of the festival on the 28th at the end of this week. But in partnership with 702, the Festival of Motoring, would like to invite you there. If you can send us a voice note answering this question. You have just bought your dream car. So who are you going to pick up first to take for a spin in your brand new dream car for the very, very first ride? Tell us what the car is. Tell us who you're going to pick up. Tell us where you're going to go and why. That, I think, is more than enough for a voice note. Send it to 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. It's 3:45.
EWN Sport.
So, Tolakelo, we're looking ahead, perhaps too far ahead, to the second test in Cape Town, but there's a really great-looking rugby match tonight at Ellis Park.
Absolutely, John. And the All Blacks will play Game 5 of their 8-match South Africa tour this evening when they clash with the Lions at Ellis Park. Even Van Rooyen has doubts about the men from Joburg's ability to cause an upset, but is confident in their ability to be competitive.
I'll be lying if I said that we season ready. We're definitely not season ready, but I think Franco will agree that we're as ready as we can be at this stage. We've been training well, we've been putting in a lot of hard work behind the scenes. If you think we're still 6 weeks away from URC, but like I said, detail-wise, we're not perfect yet. Fitness-wise, we're probably not perfect yet, but we're definitely ready and up for a big challenge.
The Springboks continue their preparations for the second rugby's greatest rivalry test on Saturday. Going into the Cape Town showdown, Rassie Erasmus says the Boks were their own worst enemy in that 33-16 defeat at Ellis Park, as he was left irritated by costly errors.
Most of the things we inflicted on ourselves, that's frustrating. We are irritated with each other inside the camp because, yes, they are a very good team and they're number one in the world now. We're now the team that chases them to try and get the number one spot back again. Do I ever think that during the game there was some stages where we had really good dominance for, I think territory was 60%, possession was a hell of a lot, and we didn't convert that.
Chelsea began their Premier League season with a 3-2 win over London rivals Fulham. Cole Palmer provided an assist and scored the winner. Xabi Alonso's Blues registered a first opening league win since the 2022-23 season.
I'm very happy for Cole because I have really enjoyed seeing him playing with this dynamism, with this freedom, with this responsibility, helping the team, feeling important, and we need that for the team. If Cole feels this way, we will have a better team, a better Chelsea. So I'm happy for him that he has enjoyed his game. You could see that.
And 4 games are scheduled in the Betway Premiership this evening, including Marumo Gallants at home to TS Galaxy, while Orlando Pirates are up against Kukune United. It's the second of 3 meetings between the Buccaneers and Babina Nogo this week, and Adaslam Madu is hoping they can make it back-to-back victories after success in the first leg of the MTN 8 semi-final.
I'm happy for the game because the target was to come here to go back with the result. But in the same time, it's only the first half. Can face completely a different game in 1 week. I don't know if we will face different players because, the best players today played, to face Pirates. So we will face the same teams, maybe different approach.
Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Okay, let's find out what's happening out on the roads. We already have some problems in Sandton. Karabo Charlie, what have you done?
Yeah, that's... I didn't do anything, actually. Well, at this stage in the Midrand area, heading towards Midrand, leaving Sandton, traffic is sluggish on the M1 northbound from Ethel Aucklands to the Patlui interchange. Still in Sandton, this time heading towards the M1, traffic heavily backed up on Greyston Drive between Rivonia Road and Catherine Street. In 4 ways, there's slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive approaching Witkoppen due to roadworks. And look out for those faulty traffic lights in Edenville at Morafontein Road and Van Riebeek. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive coming up for 11 minutes to 4. Tolakele Carlton Centre memories. Share them with us, please.
I had an uncle that lived in the Joburg CBD for a long time, so it was kind of like the meeting point whenever he had to pick us up from school. So we would go there, and there's a Wimpy that we used to go to have like a little nice late lunch, and it was always fun for me and my brother because Joburg is so busy, especially when you're from like a place like Katlohong that's very quiet. So it was always like an adventure to see all of those things. But I remember my uncle used to tell us all of the time, keep everything close and don't speak to anyone. That was always the key to surviving Carlton Centre.
Interesting that you mention that because I have bundles and bundles of memories ranging from my early teens all the way probably till I was about 30. But I want to share one very brief one prompted by Tolakele. I was hosting an English journalist and he wanted to have a sit down and talk have a cup of coffee and something to eat and chat for an hour. So I met him at our offices, and clearly as we walked from the offices, it was a good few blocks well, not that many actually, it was probably about 4, to the Carlton Centre. I could see he had a little bit of Joburg nervousness about him. So we make it into the Carlton Centre. We're all completely safe now, despite what Tola Kelly's uncle might have told him. And we sit down at the Brazilian coffee shop. Now, the thing about the Brazilian, and people who ever went, they will remember this, there were few branches, great coffee, wonderful pastéis de nata and stuff you can eat. But they had a little conveyor belt that ran around the perimeter of the thing. And so when your cappuccino or whatever you'd ordered was ready, they'd put it on the conveyor belt and it would come like ticking along at quite a slow speed. And it was great. And you recognize, oh, that's my order. There's the thing. And you pick it off the conveyor belt and you go about your eating, drinking, and business. But this guy, he didn't realize what was going on. So he puts his wallet down on the conveyor belt and he starts chatting. And then he suddenly realizes, yay, there goes my wallet. And he was completely startled. I mean, he leapt up. He was an elderly guy, but he was like a springbok in a line out. I mean, he got that wallet back. And flashing through his mind was he knew Joburg was dangerous, but had no idea it was a sophisticated cappuccino scam specifically designed to rob him blind. Anyway, that's my Carlton Centre memory. Yours, please, on 072 702 1702. Give us a call. It's 9 minutes to 4.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Well, let's stay talking about the Carlton Centre and welcome to the show Ash Muller, who is a property media professional. And we invited her to come on the show because so much has changed in the centre, in and around Johannesburg, and arguably across the whole of Gauteng. Selling the Carlton Centre back in the 90s would have been an absolute breeze. There probably would have been a line of people wanting to buy it, but Transnet perhaps has a stiffer challenge. What kind of challenge is it then? Ash, a very good afternoon and welcome. First of all, I mean, I haven't been to the Carlton Centre in ages. I think I had a meeting at Transnet maybe 7-8 years ago, so I had a little sense of it, but don't know the place well. I mean, what's going on there? In what kind of state is it at the moment?
Well, I mean, Transnet, the Carlton Centre today pretty much mirrors the surrounding area of Johannesburg and the Johannesburg CBD, which we know has been neglected, and we get all the horrible headlines about hijacked buildings and how dangerous it is and just the general state of that area. And I mean, you spoke about the 90s earlier and how in demand a building like this would have been. This building, Transnet actually bought it in 1999 for 33 million rand from Anglo American. And I mean, to rebuild something of this scale, you're talking, way north of $1 billion. And it's just actually kind of sad the amount of times this building, Transnet's put it on the market a few times over the past few years, and how they just, can't position it or get the funders or get the right people involved, because the person buying it or the consortium buying it is actually taking a bet on Joburg and the CBD.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much at play here. And I mean, it's a huge amount of floor space. Do you happen to know, do you have to buy everything? I mean, do you have to take the centre? Do you have to take the office tower that I think where Transnet currently is? Do you have to take the hotel? Do you have to, get yourself some ice skates and buy the rink? Or can somebody buy bits of it?
It would always kind of have to be the full complex, because, there's been talk over the years of should they, do the hotel thing again, student accommodation, but it's all kind of connected, especially with the underground retail. I mean, not many people know there's almost 200 shops there, so it's a total mixed use precinct, really.
Who might buy it? I mean, obviously, because they've dipped in and out of this before. There was an attempt to sell, I'm just looking at the MoneyWeb piece on this, in 2007. In 2022, Transnet Property tested the water. They were looking at this as well as the Adderley Street precinct in Cape Town, which I think is perhaps a more sellable opportunity in the market. But they must have some idea of what could be out there, or not.
So, I mean, I definitely think it's going to be a consortium or a developer or someone, some investment property group where it's very much their style to take an asset like this. You've got to put in millions to, renovate, refurbish, and reposition the asset entirely. But like I said before, the surrounding area of the asset is as important as the asset. You don't really get to experience capital growth or that commitment of what people are willing to pay to occupy it, whether it's a hotel guest or a tenant or an office tenant. You know, what people are willing to pay to occupy it all depends on the surrounding area. So you've got to have someone or a company that's, you know, looking at the future of the Johannesburg CBD. And I think that's the challenge because, yes, it's been on the market, you're 100% right, 2007, 22, 24. Interesting, they don't put a sale price on the latest, you know, announcement. But the asking price a few years ago was around 900 million.
Okay.
So, yeah, I suppose they're just kind of opening up the floor to anyone just to start that conversation again.
So here's my idea, and you know, maybe you want to come in with me on this. You turn the hotel into a residential space. I haven't yet figured out what you do with all the shops, particularly now you've told me there's another 200. I hadn't factored in. But in all seriousness, could you take the area where the ice rink was and turn it into leisure space, paddle courts, five-a-side football, maybe a gym? In other words, you try to build some kind of self-contained living for the people who are living in the hotel, to, you know, coffee shops and leisure activities without them having to really worry about the rest of Joburg, but they kind of live in the Carlton Centre in some way, shape or form. I mean, is that idea as ridiculous as it sounds to me now that I'm articulating it?
Not at all. I don't think it's ridiculous at all to have some sort of, I mean, if you look at what Tiber Construction Group just developed, that Sandton Gate 2, you know, people are all looking to commute less in traffic and be closer to suburban offices. And that Sandton Gate 2 really does have that live, work, play, everything inside.
Right.
In a more modern kind of space. So I think your concept is spot on. But who's going to be prepared to commit, you know, the hundreds of millions of rands to acquiring and repositioning the asset, you know, when your neighbors aren't really following suit? It's a huge, huge jump. And it's not to say that it hasn't been done successfully. I mean, you spoke about Adley Street. Adley Street was the Oxford Street of South Africa at a stage. It was where you went with your grandmother to buy a fancy dress. It was the high street. It was where, well, Woolworths HQ is still there today. But, I mean, Woolworths head office was there. The first Studderford was there. I mean, you're talking about the classiest, largest street. And it really went downhill for a number of years. And we are slowly but surely seeing developers come in and reposition assets on that street. I mean, Puritex has bought Golden Acre, turning it into over 400 rental residential units, upgrading the retail, and other buildings in that street are also doing it. So, you know, you really just need a few trailblazers to kind of come together and make it happen. And then obviously with maintenance, infrastructure, service delivery, you know, the government's got to partner with private, and you've got to have some sort of, you know, city improvement district, and everybody's got to work together, you know, to get the precinct functioning so that people actually want to go there. Because like I said before, what is the price that people are willing to pay to occupy it? And safety is going to be a big one.
Thank you so much, Ash Muller. Very interesting conversation indeed. Property media professional. Give us a ring. I've asked you for your Carlton Centre memories, and I still want to hear those. But can you picture how somebody could repurpose this complex? I mean, the live, work, play idea makes sense, except, you know, who works in the inner city apart from people who work in the banks, people who work for provincial and metro government? You'd need to be reviving all of that as well. But I bet there's some cool ideas out there, probably more practical than mine. Let's hear them. 072 702 1702.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
South Africa's prisons are under serious pressure. The number of foreign nationals in our jails. There are more than 30,000 of them in correctional facilities, including 4,000 Zimbabweans. So why not send them back to their countries of origin and let them serve their sentences there? The question is whether these prisoner transfers will genuinely ease the pressure, or is it that in some of these countries, it will simply be a catch and release?
That's a legitimate concern, particularly when it comes to matters of violent crime. There are a substantial number of foreign nationals who are serving life sentences for very, very serious crimes. Because once they're sent back over there, I can't see any basis upon which the South African authorities will be able to exercise oversight or control.
Lee Boslek, the inspecting judge for the Judicial Inspectorate for Correctional Services.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Your business needs an upgraded digital X-ray sensor, but do you have the cash to fund it? Before you compromise on the core items your business needs, have you looked at saving on your business insurance? Switch to Outsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. For general medical practices, dentistries, physiotherapies and all other businesses, visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Just Andalex it.
Do you have a sore throat? Andalex C Oral Rinse and Spray provides targeted relief from 1 minute that lasts up to 4 hours. It reduces pain and inflammation while numbing the affected areas. It also kills viruses and bacteria that cause sore throats to help prevent serious throat infections. Andalex, South Africa's #1 choice for sore mouth and throats. For more information, speak to your healthcare professional.
Just Andalex it.
Andalex, a proud sponsor of The Masked Singer Season 3. Uncertainty is rising, but your business still has to deliver. Production targets need to be met. And when your workforce is out of balance, the cost is immediate. Too many employees? Costs climb. Too few? Productivity drops. Workforce staffing helps businesses stay in control with flexible workforce solutions, deployed within 48 hours nationwide. When demand changes, your workforce can change with it. Visit workforcestaffing.co.za. Stay productive, stay flexible, stay in control. This is EWN.
Minister Kachalia defends the police commissioner over Matlala claims, and Ramaphosa insists water action plan is flowing nicely. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia has defended Acting Police Commissioner Buleng Dimpane. Kachalia told Parliament today Dimpane was never involved in the awarding of a dodgy multi-million rand tender to Vusumuzi Kat Matlala's Medicare 24 company. Kachalia defended Dimpane while responding to questions in the National Council of Provinces. Babalondenze reports.
Buleng Dimpane served as the police's chief financial officer when initial payments were made to alleged crime kingpin Vusumuzi Kat Matlala's Medicare 24 before she became acting commissioner. This led to organizations questioning how the payments were made while she headed up the finance division of the police. But acting Minister Feroz Kachalia told the NCOP today that she was never involved in the tender and she was in fact the one who put the brakes on the questionable contract.
The CFO is not involved in any stage in the awarding of the contract. And in fact, General Dimpane only became involved once the audit committee had made findings of irregular expenditure in terms of that contract. She then stopped payment on invoices.
Kachalia says Dimpane also ensured that the irregular expenditure was properly recorded and advocated for the establishment of a comprehensive forensic inquiry. Baba Londenza, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The Madlanga Commission has heard testimony of alleged links between controversial businessman Hangwani Maumela and alleged cartel boss Jotham Msibi. The Commission is continuing to hear testimony from alleged crime kingpin Vusumuzi Kat Matlala today. During his testimony, Matlala has given details of his relationship with Maumela, claiming they connected over their love for sports cars and ended up in the tendering business together. Matlala and Maumela have been flagged by the Special Investigating Unit in multi-million rand corruption at the Tembisa Hospital through tenders. Khomotsomodise has more.
When Vusumuzi Kat Matlala testified at the Madlanga Commission last week, he told the Commission that he was not friends with alleged Big Five cartel leader Jotham Msibi, but Msibi considered him a son who he did business with, like providing security services. Evidence leaders have revisited this theme today.
He will ask for random things, yes.
Like what?
Like I remember when he wanted to buy a Rolex for the wife, and then he asked me where can he get a Rolex, and then I told him where I bought mine, and then things like that. So
Now Matlala has drawn the first direct link between Msibi and controversial businessman Hangwani Maumela, saying he introduced Maumela to Msibi. Matlala has testified about Maumela wanting to sell a Pagani Huayra, a car with a multi-million rand price tag, and needing Msibi to organize a buyer. His testimony continues. Khomza Modise, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says government is effectively dealing with corruption and criminality in the water sector, including the water tanker mafia. He has been responding to questions from MPs in the National Assembly today about the National Water Crisis Action Plan. He says a lot of progress has been made in the implementation of the plan, which will help to resolve the country's water crisis. Ramaphosa says government is also increasing support for struggling municipalities in the provision of water.
So we are also combating corruption and criminality in the water sector, including theft and metal parts that are put for sale as scrap metal, and also deal with the whole challenge of water tanker mafia, which we are dealing with effectively.
The family of late anti-apartheid activist Steve Biko says it would be an injustice to proceed with the inquest into his death without giving them adequate time to prepare. The family argued before the Gqeberha High Court today, seeking a postponement to allow their lawyer to finalize preparations. Legal representation for the family was only secured from the Justice Department yesterday. The inquest, which reopened last year, is tasked with determining whether there are grounds for the prosecution of two people identified as the state as persons of interest. Biko died in 1977 from injuries sustained while in police detention. Nkosukona Malingamnisi reports.
The Biko family, through its attorney Ngqo Sakela, says it does not want the inquest unnecessarily delayed, but it argues that the process must also protect the family's right to a fair hearing. The family has asked the court for a postponement to give its newly appointed legal representative sufficient time to prepare.
To go through all this voluminous documentation, to take the necessary information for translation, which is in Afrikaans, so that we can be able to deal with the matter.
Meanwhile, the NPA, which is not opposing the application, says it has made efforts to gather as much documentation and as many records as possible to help the inquest reach a determination. Or see Konamalingamnisi, Eyewitness News in Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape.
And in Europe, the top human rights court has ordered the immediate release of civil society leader Osman Kavala. Kavala has been in custody for over a decade after he was sentenced to life behind bars for attempting to overthrow the government. The court has found that his conviction and detention in Turkey was null and void. It has also ordered the government to pay more than 113,000 euros to the 68-year-old. Kavala was charged over a wave of 2013 anti-government protests that posed the first serious challenge to the increasingly dominant rule of Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Gold is trading at $4,643.89 an ounce. The rand is at 15.92 to the dollar, 21.78 to the pound, 18.64 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $90.64 a barrel.
Slow-moving traffic in the four-ways area on Winnie Mandela Drive approaching Witkoppen due to ongoing roadworks. In Sandton, traffic also sluggish. M1 northbound from Athol Oakland to the Patlu interchange, and in the Joburg CBD, traffic pressure heading towards Boysons. M1 southbound from Killarney Bends to the Crown interchange.
In your sport, the Lions looking to test their systems against the All Blacks. Cole Palmer stars as Chelsea kick off their Premier League season with a London derby win. And Maketa van Rosva appeals to the Court of Arbitration for Sport against her 4-year doping ban.
A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 9 degrees, peaking at 27. Pretoria 9 and 27 as well, and Vereeniging 4 and 26 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia has defended Acting Police Commissioner Buleng Dimpane, saying she was never involved in the awarding of a dodgy multi-million rand tender.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 9 minutes past 4. Great to have you with us. We're going to have a somewhat different kind of hour here on 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, and the team. We're going to concentrate on one story with one guest. We're going to weave that conversation around the regular things we do. So we'll still be bringing you traffic, news updates, sports. We'll get business with Muteo Juaripe and all the things that you are used to getting in the hour between 4 and 5. But I'm going to spend some time with the author of a book that has really struck me and already got under my skin. It's called The Untouchables, Drug Lords, Dirty Cops, and South Africa's Darkest Secrets. This is the 5th book written by the journalist and investigative writer Karen Dolly, and it looks at drug cartels not just in South Africa, but drug cartels from other parts of the world and the way in which often completely unseen and ignored in this country, they are absolutely turning upside down some fundamentals in the South Africa that we know. Karen Dolly joining me shortly for that. I know that I invited many of you to send us a competition entry at the prize up for grabs is 2 tickets for this weekend's Festival of Motoring. So I think we should hand that prize over sooner rather than later. I asked you to tell us if you had bought your dream car and you needed to pick up someone to take them on the very first ride in your brand new vehicle, who would it be? Where would you go? And by the way, what is the dream car? We've narrowed it down to 2 people who are competing for those 2 tickets. Let's hear them both.
Good afternoon, John. Regarding your question about who I'd pick up first, it would definitely be my wife. I mean, she's always known that my dream car would be a Ford Mustang. Yeah, and that'll be the first person I'd pick up. And yeah, I would take a slow, long drive to Lesotho. That's where she's from, you know? Go enjoy it over there, that side of the world. Thanks, Topo and Alexandra. Nice show as always.
Good afternoon, radio host and the team. Definitely my ex-boss. That guy believed in me. I was young. I remember very well, I was 22 years old, nowhere to go, having nothing, absolutely knowing nobody. But that guy believed in me and he introduced me into the corporate world. And the rest is history. Yes, Land Cruiser V8. I will definitely take that guy for a spin down in the rural KZN. And then we're going to drive over those mountains and those rocks in one of the rivers in and out. Thank you. Tulani Dlamini on his way.
Yeah, Tulani, well, you are the Can't Promise You KZN and a trip with your ex-boss, who sounds like a fabulous person, but I can promise you 2 tickets to the Festival of Motoring. It's going to be a fabulous, fabulous day out at Kailami in partnership with 702, and I hope you enjoy it to the absolute full. And who knows, maybe your dream car is waiting for you there. 12 minutes past 4.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Fourways is jammed. Let's find out why.
Yeah, it's roadworks in the Fourways area. This is slowing down traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive approaching Witkoppen. Sandton heading towards Midrand. Traffic sluggish. M1 north from Ethel Oaklands to the Patlu interchange. Driving through the Joburg CBD heading towards Boysons. Traffic pressure. M1 south from Killarney Bends to the Crown interchange, while in Protea Glen, Soweto. Expect some delays on the R559 main road opposite GOG Gardens. And in Edenville, traffic heavily backed up. N3 southbound from Modderfontein Road to the Kilulis interchange. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance Pointsmen can't help you decide what to order for takeout night, but they can get the traffic flowing smoothly, so you get home in time to debate it. The Outsurance Pointsmen are real heroes in green and purple, easing traffic congestion, making our lives easier for almost 21 years. Just another way you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using hashtag PointsmenLove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
A bigger and better national lottery is here. Play Powerball, Lotto, Daily Lotto, Match Play, and Instant Games. It's your chance to win big. Available at participating retailers, online and on your banking app. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizakai.
Every girl deserves access to sanitary products, and no girl should have to miss school because she's on her period. #Against Period Poverty is working to break the cycle through menstrual health education, access to sanitary products, and sanitary pad vending machines in schools. You can help make a difference by donating, supporting, or partnering with Against Period Poverty. Give access, restore dignity, keep girls in school. One girl, one school, one community. Together, we can change lives.
Smart business decisions save money. Switch to Outsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Here's JC from Blonde Hair Studio.
I was with my previous insurer for many years before switching over to Outsurance Business Insurance. I'm really happy with the premium I'm paying now, and switching was definitely one of the best decisions for my business.
Get a quote to switch and save today. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 0800 60,000. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 4:15. As I mentioned, we're going to do the 4 to 5 hour on 702 Drive a little differently to the way we normally do it. That's because the guest I'm about to introduce is someone I need to spend a good deal of time with. That's because she is the author of a remarkable, troubling, terrible, marvelous book, I have to say. It is all of those things. And you'll understand why I use that seeming mix of adjectives, because it's a book about the drug cartels and the cops and others in South Africa who abet them. It's called The Untouchables, Drug Lords, Dirty Cops, and South Africa's Darkest Secrets. The book has a strong thread of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry through it, and of course, it takes place against the background of that investigation, which is just closed for the day in Pretoria. This after one of the fairly central characters in the book has spent day 2 answering questions from evidence leaders and others. The author is Karen Dolly. It is her 5th book. She's written on a range of subjects, but all of them come back to organized crime in South Africa. And those who go onto the Daily Maverick website, as you should, will know that she's backed this up with a great many articles looking at this topic. Karen, a very good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. It's great to have you here in Joburg. Book launch tonight, I believe. Good luck for that. I want to share with people something you write right at the beginning, and I'll read it and jump a little bit, paraphrase some bits, but this is the essence. Digging into organized crime in South Africa is unnerving and dangerous. As soon as you think you've hit the rock bottom of the cesspit, you realize there are more acrid layers, and these can give way at any point. One wrong move and the muck can turn on you. And then you talk about these organized criminals and you say it has saturated just about every sector: mining, farming, food, transport, housing and entertainment, almost all of what we consume and experience. We don't necessarily realize this until violence rips off criminality's disguise. Welcome to 702. I mean, after 20 years covering this, after a book of 360 pages, you still don't know if you're at the bottom of this. It's a remarkable thing to say, because clearly there's more. Why is there more? Is this because this stuff keeps reproducing, morphing, changing and expanding?
Firstly, thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure being in Joburg. And yes, when I started in journalism, when I started covering crime, I always thought that there is a start point and an end point.
Yes.
And as soon as I near what I think is the end point, it elongates, it webs out. And that's really what I consistently see happening, consistently understand. Even, like in the past few years, we've seen Mexican suspects being arrested at these drug manufacturing facilities, for lack of a better word. But it's morphing. Organized crime changes. At the same time, the book really traces the background, the history of how we got here, and why why we think things are the way they are.
It's a fascinating thread in the book that you do go back, because when I was looking through the chapter list, I thought, oh my goodness, Rox Dlamini, that was a story from the 90s or
Yes.
late 1980s. And you make very explicitly the point, we have been dealing with this, or failing, more pertinently, to deal with it for at least 3 decades.
Exactly. So what I really wanted to get across is that while the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry is, I believe, a great thing, it's necessary. It's highlighting these avenues that we all kind of know exists, but we don't know the texture, the fabric, the actual characters. But really this goes back, sadly, decades on pre-democracy, and it's a repeat. It's a different iteration of state capture. It's an expansion of what happened back then. It's an extension. I can use very different words, but they're all applicable.
It's very interesting what you said about how it morphs, it changes and shifts. And you quote, I think it's General Dumisani Khumalo, who himself has been in the news in all sorts of ways, senior person in crime intelligence. But he said, referring to the Big Five, which is a name we keep hearing about, you said you became aware of that term around 2024. But you say it's not a mere syndicate. It is a conglomerate of different kinds of booming illicit businesses that together barge their way into legitimate sectors, tainting everything they touched. According to Khumalo, some senior politicians were complicit with Big Five activities or were intentionally choosing to ignore its operations. This seems to me to be one of the most interesting but also terrifying threads in your book, is that it would be easy to say, well, there's life and the economy and politics, and then there's criminality. This has woven its way into, you seem to be saying, literally everything in our society.
It's organized crime. Where there's money, where there's any commodity, there will be criminality. And it really has saturated just about everything. And I actually heard about the Big Five many, many years ago.
Okay.
So in 2024, it started picking up, and I didn't quite understand who. I was so confused, actually. I remember chatting to someone in particular, and I was like, what is happening? Are we talking about the same Big Five from the 1990s, the 1980s? And I wasn't getting answers, and then it started becoming much clearer after the 6th of July, 2025.
We're going to talk in the time that we have, and it will never be enough, about all the many threads. And I want to spend some time on the international links that you sketch out, which are both fascinating and again chilling. Just to keep that link. But I want to step back and ask you this, because you do put a fair bit of your personal experience of covering the story in, and it's quite a bit of it is quite scary, even for a reader. Have you had family members, people who love you dearly, saying, Karen, seriously, this is enough? Or did people say, we know you're going to do it, we're going to back you all the way? I mean, you've dealt with some dangerous people, and you've made some of them pretty unhappy.
Oh, yeah, I know. I've made several of them very unhappy.
Yes.
And like my family, people close to me, it's very bizarre, because what you're saying sounds like it's just what I've been doing. So it's not something strange to anyone. It's just, it's been happening. And it's the most bizarre thing. When I pick up this book and I was reading it on the plane here, I actually felt nauseous. I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrifying.
Yes.
So it's very weird how my brain can actually choose to disconnect. And I think, shame, my parents, I know they worry, and I'm so sorry, mommy and daddy, but they know that I wanted to explain this in a way that you can see it's an entrenched, saturating problem. And that's what I set out to do a long time ago. And I think it's the first time that I've actually managed to convey that.
You've written about this in other books that you've published, but I think what is significant and different, and you'll tell me in what way, is the background of the Madlanga Commission. And you referred to that very important day, Sunday, the 6th of July, 2025. And I love the way you describe it. On Sunday, 6th July, 2025, when most South Africans are trying to avoid direct eye contact with the impending work week, KwaZulu-Natal's Police Commissioner General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi holds a press conference and this is the way I think you describe what happened, calmly detonates the biggest law enforcement scandal democratic South Africa has ever seen, alleging that a drug trafficking cartel has infiltrated the country's criminal justice system, its politics, and its private sector, security included. Share with us what you were thinking when you watched that, because on one level I would think you probably thought, well, in a way I knew this, but you must have also known, okay, here comes something. Things will never be the same.
It was a most disorienting moment when I was actually doing grocery shopping when the press conference happened live, and I kept getting these messages, and I rushed home and I caught up. And even now when I'm talking about it, it's a most bizarre, surreal feeling and disorienting, because what he was saying sort of brought together these elements I've been looking into over so many years.
Yes.
And it feels like I've been sort of screaming very shrilly through my news articles like something's wrong. That wasn't shrill, excuse me. But to hear it from a senior state official, a police officer, it just felt like my whole world had tilted for a second, righted back up. And as I looked around, I realized, actually, this has basically been like a policing earthquake or a law enforcement earthquake. Careers are about to topple. We are going to hear things.
I must ask you this, though, because one of the things you talk about is there are moments, there are arrests, people get killed, there are huge drug busts, and there are those tilts as you describe them, but it does settle back to business as usual. Could we settle back, and we'll explore this in more detail later, but just some first thoughts. Could we settle back into pre-Mkhwanazi South African reality much sooner and alarmingly quickly than we realize? At the moment, it appears nothing will ever be the same again, but we've heard that before.
That's what I fear, but I've got great hope. Things are changing.
Yes.
So, yeah, I feel like I want to answer you in one loud, hard scream. No,
Yeah.
we do not allow that. We know what the problem is now.
Yes.
Actually, we're seeing an outline of the problem. We don't know the actual texture, the fabric, etc. Once we got the problem, we understand it. We know what needs to be done. That had better be done. I'm not prepared to write another 5 books. I'm teasing.
Yes.
But,
Brace yourself, and perhaps we should too.
Oof.
We'll talk about it some more. The book is called The Untouchables, Drug Lords, Dirty Cops, and South Africa's Darkest Secrets. I'll give you details of where to get it. It is not an easy read, but it's a very, very important one. And it sets things out in crystal clear detail. It deals with drug cartels in South Africa and the extent to which they've weaved their way into virtually every aspect of South African life. And by the way, they don't limit themselves simply to one area of criminality. And that's, I think, part of what's coming out at Madlanga, and it's certainly coming out in the Untouchables. My guest is Karen Dolly. We're going to bring you all the regular things, business, etc. over this hour, and then we'll get back into the meat of this important book. 27 minutes past 4.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabota, 1 to 3 p.m.
Outside of limiting screen time, what are the other things that can really help with eye care? Because I come from the era of just eat your carrots and then we moved on.
Yeah, the carrots are good, so don't stop eating those.
Yes.
But screen time plays a major role. Okay, so encourage obviously regular breaks. Make sure that your kids have good lights if they are doing homework, that their posture is right, not lie on the one arm on the desk, because that all influences vision. Encourage them to play as much as they can outdoor.
Yes.
There's studies that shows the more you're inside, the weaker your eyes become compared to playing outside.
Anami Greer.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabota.
Let's walk the talk.
Now, last year we did something that we just enjoyed doing so much. Well, we got to do it again this year. It is Gauteng's greatest awards for 2026. And once again, we are partnering with Yoko. They are the ideal partners, of course, because they are in the business not only of celebrating independent businesses, those that make Gauteng what it is, but they're also involved in making the lives of those businesses earlier. Fundamental to what Yoko does is the principle of loyalty. And that's why they've recently launched something called Yoko Loyalty. A simple name for a beautifully simple rewards program that lets businesses say thank you automatically every time a customer taps pay. With loyalty at the center of this year's awards, we're asking you, the regulators who keep local businesses alive, to give the businesses that have earned your loyalty the recognition they deserve. So this is what we want you to do. Go to primemediaplus.com. Do it now if you have a moment and explore the carefully curated categories. And then in those categories, nominate that local business that makes you proud to be a loyal regular. Because if Gauteng's great businesses have earned your loyalty, they have earned your nomination. Gauteng's Greatest Awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Less admin, more time for what you love. Yoko, let's grow.
35 years ago, we started asking a simple question. What if change wasn't something to survive, but something to invest in? Markets have risen and fallen. Technology has rewritten the rules. The world has shifted in ways nobody predicted. Through it all, we kept investing with conviction for the long term, for you. Change is opportunity. We're always ready to invest in it. 91. Investing for a world of change. 91 is an authorized FSP.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports. No more disconnected systems. No more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on istratgo.com. istratgo.com.
EWN Business.
Right, Muteo Khwaripe updating us on what's happening on the markets. Looked kind of flat, the JSE, last time I looked, but you update us. What's the latest?
Yeah, JSE has been flat, but some news coming through on the market. Shares at Northern Platinum went up 11% in early trading after the miner said it was inviting potential suitors to a competitive bidding process after receiving a voluntary offer for a transaction from an unnamed major South African platinum miner. South Africa's fourth largest platinum group metal miner said in a statement it had recently been approached for potential unspecified asset level or corporate transaction. Northern says it's now inviting other proposal on a range of potential transactions, including by the interested PGM producer. Then, looking to the markets, the U.S. markets opening quite positive this afternoon. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rising by 125 points. The S&P 500 adding 0.4%, while the Nasdaq Composite Housing, mostly tech shares, also opening higher. On the JSE, still a bit of a flat start, 61 points down this afternoon ahead of market close. Industrials were weaker, banking stocks up more than 0.5%, with mining shares also coming in lower. But the big story this afternoon, the Rand breaking into that 15 Rand point. Now at 15 Rand 96 against the US dollar, 18 Rand 63 cents against the euro, and 21 Rand 77 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,622 an ounce, while platinum is lower by 1.6% at $1,852. Brent crude now at $89 a barrel. More business in about an hour.
Thanks, Muteo. Right, let's catch up with the very latest eyewitness news. Mbali Dlamini here to catch us up on what's been happening.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Well, the Correctional Services Department has dismissed claims that were made by alleged crime boss Vusimuzi Matlala's legal team that it has been difficult consulting with him to prepare for the Madlanga Commission. Yesterday, Matlala's lawyers sought a postponement of proceedings, arguing that restrictions at the Hoshimamburu prison hindered consultations. But the department disputes this, saying Matlala's legal team met with him on 3 consecutive days last week and was provided with an office space to conduct consultations. Spokesperson for the department, Singabako Nxumalo, says it's unfortunate that the legal team has placed blame on the department.
On the 21st of August, a team of 5 lawyers visited our facility without any form of hindrance. They were there up until they finished and they left. The following day, the 22nd, 2 of those lawyers returned, and on the 23rd, these are 3 days in succession. They also came back.
Nxumalo adds that while security was in place because the venue is a correctional facility, it did not interfere with their work.
It is legislated, it is in the Act that lawyers must be allowed to consult with their clients. Hence, as the department will make it our key responsibility is to facilitate that particular process.
3 men accused of involvement in the murder of boxer Zolani Tete joined the alleged mastermind in the dock today. Tete was shot and killed in an attack in Mdantsane last week. The state alleges the deadly attack, which also left Tete's 27-year-old partner injured, was premeditated. Eastern Cape NPA spokesperson Luxolo Kyali says 2 of the accused have since abandoned their bail applications.
While the mastermind and the middlemen are still applying for bail, which will be vehemently opposed by the NPA. Their bail application will proceed on the 1st of September.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says infrastructure development is a critical part of South Africa's economic reform agenda. Speaking at the Sustainable Infrastructure Development Symposium in Cape Town, Ramaphosa says reliable infrastructure is essential to improving the daily lives of South Africans and supporting economic growth. The symposium is focused on shaping the future of municipal infrastructure with government, business and development partners looking at ways to accelerate infrastructure investment and delivery. Ramaphosa says securing reliable energy supply remains a key priority, while investment in infrastructure such as water, transport, roads and electricity is critical to creating a more competitive economy.
Infrastructure is fundamental to the integration of our Southern African region and the African continent indeed. We need roads, bridges, rail lines, power lines, gas pipelines, and fuel pipelines that cross our region, our continent.
A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 4 and 9 degrees and highs of between 26 and 27.
4 ways, slow-moving traffic. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive, approaching Witkoppen due to ongoing roadworks. Sandton, there's still slow-moving traffic. M1 northbound from Ethel Oaklands to the Patlu interchange and in Protea Glen. Soweto, expect some delays on the R559 main road opposite GOG Gardens.
The top story in EWN. The Correctional Services Department has dismissed claims made by the lawyers of alleged crime boss Vusimuzi Matlala that it's been difficult consulting with him to prepare for the Madlanga Commission.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
South Africa's prisons are under serious pressure. The number of foreign nationals in our jails. There are more than 30,000 of them in correctional facilities, including 4,000 Zimbabweans. So why not send them back to their countries of origin and let them serve their sentences there? The question is whether these prisoner transfers will genuinely ease the pressure, or is it that in some of these countries, it will simply be a catch and release?
That's a legitimate concern, particularly when it comes to matters of violent crime. There are a substantial number of foreign nationals who are serving life sentences for very, very serious crimes. Because once they're sent back over there, I can't see any basis upon which the South African authorities will be able to exercise oversight or control.
Lee Boslek, the inspecting judge for the Judicial Inspectorate for Correctional Services.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Tee off for a great cause at the University of the Western Cape's annual Johannesburg Golf Day on Friday, 11 September 2026 at Copperleaf Golf Estate. Gather your four-ball for a fantastic day of golf, networking and giving back while helping transform the futures of UWC students. For more information and to book your spot, visit uwc.ac.za. Playing with purpose, partnering for impact, transforming futures.
It's a good thing you're naked while doing the dishes, because what if water starts coming from somewhere that definitely isn't a tap? With Naked, you can request emergency plumbing assistance instantly on the app. Go to naked.insure now and get comprehensive home insurance at a lower premium, because when bad things happen, it's a good thing you're naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Welcome to Nando's Taste-Demonials.
It's the flavor!
Real reviews by real people. Nico from Kailami is in touch with his emotions. So when we asked about the Nando's Peri Peri half chicken and a single side for only $1.25, he said,
I'm sad. I finished it.
Ah, Nikos, ungawari. Because this chicken season has more episodes. Nando's. Oh, what a place.
EWN Sport.
22 minutes to 5. Good news out of the Springbok camp. Here's Tola Kele.
Thanks so much, John. And Rassie Erasmus has confirmed that Captain Siya Kolisi is fit and will start Saturday's rugby's greatest rivalry test series match against New Zealand. His inclusion means that Paul de Villiers drops out of the match day 23, while the coach has discussed if he's worried about the number of injuries his captain is picking up a year out from the World Cup.
This is not a need, and it's not a hamstring where he was running maximum speed. It was at a breakdown where he was trying to steal the ball and then he got cleaned from behind and then he just overextended. A grade 2 hamstring takes a little bit longer, and that's why we're just really cautious. Last week, maybe touch and go, and then Sunday when he did some rehab, he said no, he when he gets out of the ground, he still feels it a little bit, but we said, well, okay, you'll have to run full out Monday. And he did full out Monday and full out Tuesday without any discomfort, so he's good to go.
For the Lions, their players will be using tonight's clash against the All Blacks to impress Erasmus with one eye on box selection. New Zealand play their final game against a provincial side as the two sides meet at Ellis Park. And Frankie Horn has discussed the incentive that the fixture offers.
Yeah, obviously you're testing yourself against the best, and they've picked a very good loose trio, and we as well as a very good loose trio. So it's just important that we as a pack and as a loose trio play well together. If the team does well, the individual looks well, and the rest will look after itself. So not really thinking too far ahead, just focusing on my game and how I can contribute to the team.
Round 4 of the Betway Premiership gets underway this evening with 4 games scheduled, including Suelele against Chipa United, while Orlando Pirates take on Skokune. It's the first game for the Ghost without the services of Patrick Masangwanyi after confirming that the playmaker has completed a deal to join Bahrainian Premier League side Al Qadiyah Sports Club. And speaking to Orlando Pirates TV, Bucks assistant coach Mandla Ncigazi shared his thoughts on what they expect in the league encounter against Babina Noko.
We respect what happened in the previous match. We appreciate the result, but we don't live on the previous result. It will be an interesting match tactically, having the same opponent 2 times and 3 times in 1 week. We take the lessons from the previous match, try and concentrate on our performance and improve. If we do that, we are going to get a positive outcome tomorrow.
And Ethiopia has become the first country to publicly declare its intention to host the 2028 Africa Cup of Nations after their football federation submitted its bid to CAF. It does face numerous obstacles, including ongoing insurgencies, as well as threats of renewed civil war, while the national team last played in the biennial tournament back in 2022. The 2027 edition will be jointly hosted by Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania, while Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso have all expressed their desire to co-host the tournament in 2032. Tola Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's get the latest from out on the roads. Krabo Charlie, what you got for us?
Well, at this stage in Equestria, Pretoria, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic on Solomon Mahlangu. This is between Linwood and the N4, while in 4 ways we still have slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive, approaching Witkoppen due to ongoing roadworks. In Sandton, traffic sluggish M1 North from Ethel Oaklands to the Butlu interchange. In the Joburg CBD heading towards Boyson's, traffic pressure M1 South from Killarney Benz to the Crown interchange. In Protea Glen, Soweto, you can still expect some delays on the R559 main road opposite GOG Gardens. And in Edenvale heading towards Germiston, there's heavy delays N3 South from Morafontein Road all the way to the Gilulis interchange. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
And this EWN Traffic was brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Things people stress about in traffic. Number 50 was, as per my last email, too passive-aggressive. Oh, the torture. Well, with the Outsurance pointsman on your route, at least the traffic is one less thing to stress about. The Outsurance pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Yes, indeed, you are with me, John Perlman, and I am with Karen Dolly, who is the author of a book that has its Joburg launch tonight. It's called The Untouchables, Drug Lords, Dirty Cops, and South Africa's Darkest Secrets. And so many of the issues that come up in the book and are raked over and explored are themes and indeed some of the same stories that are currently being covered by the Madlanga Commission, and that makes this book, apart from being a very riveting read, a very, very important one as well. Karen, I said when we were chatting just before we did the news and all the other things that we've been sharing with our listeners that I wanted to touch on South Africa and this particular problem in a global context. And you refer to this as not a local crime problem, but that we are, and again your words, a node in a global criminal network. I found this paragraph absolutely chilling, but I do feel I should read it for everyone else's benefit. Criminals sniff out state weaknesses. Cartels from countless countries, including Serbia, Colombia, Mexico, and Brazil, are circling this almighty scandal decades in the making. When this country's colluders make room for those cartels, they gorge on government and gnaw into our safety. If they're not accommodated, violence will ensue. I would assume violence already has, because you have a long list of people connected to drug syndicates and the drug trade and the related businesses that have been killed. Why is South Africa a target? Is it simply because the whole world is a target, or are we prey for a particular set of reasons?
There are various reasons, and I mean, South Africa isn't isolated in the global drug trade.
Yes.
It's very obvious that we're not. We are a node, we are a consumer base, a production base, a transit point. But we have coastal cities, which is, I don't want to say great, but it's useful for traffickers or criminals to push things in and out. And also, if you look at pre-1994 and what apartheid, when the country became a democratic one, all that has influenced how criminals view the state. And I mean, before pre-1994, we had police officers who were criminals.
Yes.
What we're actually seeing in the Madlanga Commission today is that in a democratic state, we still have police officers who are, I will say, crime suspects for now until anyone is convicted. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is quite alarming. I mean, you wrote something that, sometimes it's kind of the big things in the book that catch my eye, but this was said almost casually. And you mentioned a particular Brazilian who is now spending 26 years in jail in Brazil for crimes including drug trafficking. And you kind of mentioned, almost as a throwaway, it appears he was using another name and was based in Johannesburg. What that suggested to me was a real, almost ordinariness about some of the ways infiltration take place, that people find ways to live in the country, they set up operations, and they actually lie quite low, but wreak havoc while doing so.
Absolutely, and I know who you're referring to, Gilberto Aparecido dos Santos, aka Fuminho from Brazil. He did move through South Africa. I also found that, what? So there'd been suspicions about him for years, and those really surged when there was a big cocaine bust. I believe it was, I may be mistaken, but Saldanha Bay a few years ago.
Yes.
And it was while looking into that and digging and translating court papers, etc., I was like, oh my word, he was actually in South Africa. Many people had suspected that, and I only found out retrospectively. He was arrested in Mozambique and sort of sent back to Brazil. But that's just one person. I mean, if you read the book, even if you follow my Daily Maverick stories, you'll see the Keenan cartel has fingerprints on South Africa. You'll see Indian drug traffickers from way back seem to have maintained a lot of dominance over South Africa's drug trade in ways that I wish I could explain. I wish the book had an answer as to how someone says openly, I was hell-bent on dominating South Africa's drug trade, and yet they were never arrested or convicted or, prosecuted in South Africa. That it's weird. There's several individuals in this book from different countries, Cuba included, where sometimes they don't face any criminal consequences or consequences for criminality, and sometimes they face a little bit of a brush with the law here and there, but they end up being convicted in other countries. They end up sitting in jail in other countries. They end up going on trial and becoming state witnesses in other countries, but they did operate in South Africa.
It's a really interesting thing because often when criminals make the news in South Africa and they get apprehended, it's often the SIU has confiscated a whole warehouse full of luxury cars, not quite, but you know what I'm saying. And it's their conspicuous wealth that is often front and center. But you say, and I thought this was really interesting, you talk about two kinds of lawbreakers, and you say those who show off their money and those who don't. And you make the point, and I'm wondering if maybe I'm overstating the point, that often it's the ones who keep the lowest profile, who are the most powerful, therefore the most dangerous, and possibly therefore the most difficult to actually deal with. And that often, we get sardines dressing as Armani sharks, but they are actually small fish.
Absolutely. And it's like what I call the two types of true untouchables. You get those we simply don't know about. We know they're there, we just don't know their names, etc. And then you get those who are in power in disguise. And those are really the two types of untouchables. And yeah, I think, as I explain in the book, I think several of South Africa's so-called criminal elite, or who portray themselves as these big thugs, are actually very low down on the global food chain, and they can be eaten in a second.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, and you do quote General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi referring to Kat Matlala, Vusimuzi Matlala, who's very much obviously front and center, not for the first time, but particularly this week at the Madlanga Commission. And you write, he reduced the idea about Kat Matlala as a Big Five kingpin to a single phrase, a small fish in a big pond. And those are General Mkhwanazi's word. And you then raise, rather ominously, which raises the question of where the big fish, the sharks, actually are, which is something we'll talk about in a moment. But one of our listeners has a question for you. Let's hear it.
Hello, John, and your guest, Kingsley from Germiston. Congratulations to Karen Dolly on the book. I hope to get my hands on it. I would like to ask, does Karen Dolly feel that, South Africans in general, even before all the commissions, have been sort of raising alarm bells in conversation on radio topics, etc. So even though we didn't know the details and how the dots connect, I think South Africans in general have been aware of the rot and the corruption. We perhaps may have not known the full extent, but we've always had a sense that things are not well. And the other thing, if she could please comment on that as well, is that I'm very concerned that sometimes, and it's not an accusation, it's more an observation, there almost appears to be a glee with which we watch the Madlanga Commission, for example, or we talk about a Kat Matlala as if there's some sort of hero. Her comments, please.
Yeah, quite a bit there from Kingsley. Over to you.
So, yeah, I do believe that, several of us have known that things aren't right, okay? We've had what I call state capture in the Zuma era. It was clear things aren't right. Things can't just repair. So I think we knew that we weren't in the best situation, and we know that we're not in the best situation. Now we just have names, we've got titles, we've got a few more parameters to explain what's happening. So yeah, I think we all understood that something was off. I just don't think we all understood the extent and scope of it. And then in terms of the sort of glee, I'm not sure, like the people I chat to, which would be family, friends, etc., we watch it and we discuss it. And I do know that on social media there's lots of joking, but I'm not sure if it's glee. I also think it's such heavy reality that some people may make light of it through jokes, etc. But I don't necessarily think that someone is simply mocking it or trying to make someone into a hero when they're not.
Yeah, my very brief observation on that is a deep satisfaction at an inquisitorial and investigative process that does not allow people wriggle room, where the questioning is not only unsparing, but it, rather than being performative, it's actually precise, and I've really enjoyed that. But let's move on to a couple of things. You have a graphic right near the end of the book, and it's called The Big Divide, which really raises for me questions about the extent to which this potential for cleaning out is going to be hamstrung by some of the unresolved things. And the big divide looks at two factions, and I won't go into every single detail. But in faction one, you've got one person from Crime Intelligence, General Dumisani Kumalo. Opposite him in Faction 2 is Crime Intelligence senior official Feroz Khan. We've got Fani Masamula in Group 1, and we've got Shadrach Sabia in Group 2. We've got Begi Tele in Faction 1, and we've got Senzo Mkunu in Section 2. And it seems to me that before things get better, they might actually get worse in certain ways, as these fallouts themselves produce, at the very least, mini crises of their own.
Absolutely. So it's clear now that there are factions in the police. I mean, we've reported on factions over several years, but no one was outright saying, yes, there are factions. But it was clear there were. Now it is outright clear. What is scary is that if you look at this through, let's just switch the lens. If these were, it's an awful example actually, but if these were rival gangsters, there would be shootouts. And if what certain police officers are saying is fact, that certain of their colleagues are gangsters, we will see, it leaves me with a very uneasy feeling. Let's leave it. I don't want to say there will be violence, etc., but as you say, it can't resolve easily and fuss-free. There will be pushback.
Yes.
People will try and stay viewed as innocent in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of the country.
And retain power, because there is an immense amount at stake here. Karen, I want to ask you this. You've done work before in other writing you've done and things you've published around the interface between criminality, private security, nightclubs, and that presumably... while that's not as central a thread as it has been in your previous work, is still a very important theme. And you use a very interesting phrase talking, well, I'll read it for people, 2 sentences. Flip a section of Cape Town's nightclub scene onto its back and its underbelly is exposed. Poisonous private security, gangster alliances, suspicions of rogue state operatives, battles that produce bodies. And you use this expression, glamour as camouflage. And what bell that might ring for people is, for example, DJs finding themselves getting shot at and in some cases killed. What's going on there? Are they all tied, or about trying to join too many dots?
I don't think you're trying to join too many dots, because I think in organized crime, everything inevitably is connected.
Yes.
With the DJs, we've got DJ Somebody, for example, who was fatally shot in Gauteng. He was a partner in a business that involved the lifestyle lounge, Yep. There was a venue in, I think, Pretoria and one in Cape Town.
Right.
And that venue is also linked to the alleged 28's gang boss, Ralph Stanfield, and his wife, Nicole Johnson. They're both facing criminal charges at the moment, set to go on trial later this year. But that really shows you how, even though what we're seeing are allegations, what is fact is that someone was murdered. That is DJ Somebody. What is fact is that he was connected to this venue. What is fact is that an alleged gang boss, he may be found innocent, we don't know, he is connected or was connected to that venue. And that alone shows you this sort of not even an overlapping, but it's a meshing of alleged organized crime, or you can say organized crime if you look at the murder, and entertainment.
And government contracts and tenders.
Of course, and private security, let's not forget that. That is a huge... I mean, in Cape Town a few years ago, and I know the same played out in Gauteng before, we had insane, I want to say, violence linked to battles to dominate the doors to certain venues. And I'm saying the doors, but what police officers were saying is that if you control that door, you control what goes in and out of it, drugs, hitmen, etc.
Yeah. I want to just ask you one last thing, because unfortunately our time is coming to an end. This sentence. Some conversations left me feeling like what I was writing about, especially in terms of mandrax and other drugs, was peeving and or intriguing certain state figures. Has it gone beyond peeving, intriguing?
I would not know. I can only hope that it hasn't. But I know that there were strange questions asked of me. Where are you getting your info from? So I know that I've stood on toes. And I know, for example, in the case of Mark Liftman, who was trying to sue me at the time of his own murder, I know that I've upset certain individuals. I can't help if they have done wrong. They can help if they have done wrong. They can stop it. They can prevent further violence. They can prevent further nonsense.
Yeah, well, your book will not upset people, but it certainly will unsettle them because of what's in there. But it is a terrific read, and I couldn't recommend it more strongly. It's called The Untouchables, Drug Lords, Dirty Cops, and South Africa's Darkest Secrets. The Joburg launch is tonight. The author is Karen Dolly. Thank you so much for giving us your time on 702. It's been great.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
2 minutes to 5. This is 702 Drive. After 5, the Madlanga Commission, the very latest from today's proceedings. That's with Khumotso Modise.
What's for dinner tonight, South Africa? Hiya, Jamie Oliver here. Dinner stress? Forget it. I've teamed up with Checkers to bring you some of my favourite recipes the whole family will love.
You gotta try my simple smoky chicken wraps. Delicious and done in minutes.
Shop the ingredients on Checkers 6060 and boom, delivered in 60 minutes. Every week, 5 brand new dinner ideas. Checkers, dinner done better.
A bigger and better national lottery is here. Play Powerball, Lotto, Daily Lotto, Match Play, and Instant Games. It's your chance to win big. Available at participating retailers, online, and on your banking app. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizakai.
So the other day I get this call from an insurance company. They asked me if I knew what their third-party policy entails. I said, third party? Whoa, big dog. I haven't even been invited to the first one yet. And they just put down the phone. I don't get it.
Don't get that insurance. Get Pineapple. It's easy to get and online. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. T's and C's apply.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Still to come on 702 Drive. As I said, Vusimuzi Matlala was at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today. Very interesting questions being asked about a number of his business relationships, including with Hangwani Maumela, who we highlighted a little while back in the news after the SIU seized some of his assets. All that and more between 5 and 6. But right now, at 5 o'clock, it is time for the news with Mbali Dlamini.
This is EWN.
Matlala's WhatsApp messages in the spotlight at the Madlanga Commission, and Brown Mokhotsi accused of shifting the goalposts. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The WhatsApp messages of alleged crime boss Vusimuzi Matlala have revealed a web of dealings between alleged cartel boss Jotham Msibi and controversial businessman Hangwani Maumela. The commission has been dealing with messages between Msibi and Matlala. Today, Matlala claims he introduced Maumela to Msibi, who was already providing security services too. Khumotso Modise reports.
The evidence presented at the Madlanga Commission today seems to point to a network involving Vusimuzi Matlala, Jotham Msibi, and Hangwani Maumela. Matlala testified that he's not aware of any money exchange between Msibi and Maumela, but evidence leaders showed him WhatsApp messages between himself and Msibi and proof of bank payments of up to 3 million rand sent to Msibi.
You are saying to Mr. Msibi, this is the account Morgan says to deposit the money into. You say those words.
No,
I can interpret them for you.
No, it says this one is the account Morgan sent to deposit money. Yeah, I see.
Yes.
Commissioner, I don't know. I don't want to lie to you.
Matlala insists he does not remember what the payments were for, saying he would deal with millions at a time, something commissioners have rejected. Khumotso Modise, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Meanwhile, Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia has defended Acting Police Commissioner Puleng Dimpane. Kachalia told Parliament today Dimpane was never involved in the awarding of a dodgy multi-million rand tender to Vusimuzi Matlala's Medicare 24 company. Kachalia defended Dimpane while responding to questions in the National Council of Provinces. Babalondenze has more.
Puleng Dimpane served as the police's chief financial officer when initial payments were made to alleged crime kingpin Vusimuzi Matlala's Medicare 24. before she became acting commissioner. This led to organizations questioning how the payments were made while she headed up the finance division of the police. But acting Minister Firoz Kachalia told the NCOP today that she was never involved in the tender and she was in fact the one who put the brakes on the questionable contract.
The CFO is not involved in any stage in the awarding of the contract. And in fact, General Dimpane only became involved once the audit committee had made findings of irregular expenditure in terms of that contract. She then stopped payment on invoices.
Kachala says Dimpane also ensured that the irregular expenditure was properly recorded and advocated for the establishment of a comprehensive forensic inquiry. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The state has accused self-proclaimed political fixer Brown Mokhotsi of shifting the goalposts in his latest bid for bail. Mokhotsi told the Johannesburg Magistrates Court today that his wife has secured a new lease agreement giving him an address that can be independently verified. His previous bail applications were refused after the court found the addresses could not be verified. His appeal at the Joburg High Court against that decision also failed. In court today, the state alleged that Mokhotsi had planned to escape custody while in court, but this plan was allegedly foiled. Dimakatso Leshoro has more.
Despite the new address in Mahikeng as well as an additional address in Johannesburg, the state is still opposing Brown Mokhotsi's release on bail. It is arguing that Mokhotsi's ability to swiftly change addresses, coupled with an alleged elaborate plot to escape from prison, makes him a flight risk. Reacting to allegations, Mokhotsi plotted to escape prison by dressing up as a correctional services officer during his last court appearance. The defense, led by advocate Ntabiseng Mohomane, accused the state of introducing new allegations every time Mokhotsi tries to apply for bail.
Your Worship, the court would note that every application that comes is met with new allegations.
The latest bail application has again put the spotlight on whether Mokhotsi can be trusted to remain at a verifiable address or whether the state can prove he poses a real risk of absconding. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg Magistrates Court.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says government is effectively dealing with corruption and criminality in the water sector, including the so-called water tanker mafia. He has been responding to questions from MPs in the National Assembly today about the National Water Crisis Action Plan. He says a lot of progress has been made in the implementation of the plan, which will help resolve the country's water crisis. Ramaphosa says government is also increasing support for struggling municipalities in the provision of water.
We are also combating corruption and criminality in the water sector, including theft and metal parts that are put for sale as scrap metal, and also deal with the whole challenge of water tanker mafia, which we are dealing with effectively.
And Germany has deported 23 Afghan men, saying most of them were offenders convicted of violent crimes. This comes as the government seeks to show a tougher stance on illegal immigration ahead of the regional elections next month. The men, who were subject to deportation orders, had largely been convicted of serious offences, including sexual crimes and bodily harm. The Interior Ministry says in total, Germany has sent back 228 Afghan men since Chancellor Friedrich Merz took power in May last year. Gold is trading at $4,643.21 an ounce. The rand is at 15.97 to the dollar, 21.78 to the pound, 18.63 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $90.21 a barrel.
In the city of Tshwane, bumper-to-bumper traffic in Linwood heading towards Centurion. That's on the N1 southbound from Linwood Road to Rigel Avenue, Equestria. Expect some delays on Solomon Mahlangu between Linwood Road and the N4 and in
sport, the Lions looking to test their systems against the All Blacks. Cole Palmer stars as Chelsea kick off their Premier League season with a London derby win. And Maketa van Rosva appeals to the Court of Arbitration for Sport against her 4-year doping ban.
A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 9 degrees, peaking at 27. Pretoria 9 and 20. 27 and Vereniging 4 and 26 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The WhatsApp messages of alleged crime boss Vusimuzi Matlala have revealed a web of dealings between alleged cartel boss Jotham Msibi and controversial businessman Hangwani Maumela.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 8 minutes past 5. Good to have you with us on the show. Coming up shortly, we are going to be talking to Khumotso Modise about what happened today at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Most of the focus on Vusimuzi Matlala and his relationship with somebody else implicated in various issues of misconduct and criminality. Although that still has to be tested in the court of law, particularly involving the Tembisa Hospital. We'll be talking to Khumotso about what went down at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today. A lot of you have been responding to issues around the Carlton Centre, the fact that it is up for sale. And we did ask you for your memories of the Carlton Centre, your memories of either going to the hotel. Perhaps a number of people got engaged on the 50th floor. If I knew that was a good way to get someone to say yes, why didn't no one tell me when the place was still open? Seriously though, we've got a few more of your Carlton Centre memories, and I'd like to get your views. It looks now like Siya Kolisi will be leading the Springboks out against the All Blacks in Cape Town on Saturday. It looks to me like that could make a big difference to the team. I think there were certain things missing on Saturday. None of that taking away from anything that the All Blacks did, which was excellent. But we do need to get some kind of spark, and maybe the captain is the one to provide it. Give me your thoughts on that. Could he make a significant difference? Is there always a risk that he may? No, they wouldn't be using him if he wasn't fully fit. We'll have an update from the markets. We'll bring you the latest from the world of sport. Many of you, of course, are out in the traffic, and we would very much like to make sure you get home securely and safely. That's coming up shortly with Karabo Chale. But a couple more Carlton Centre stories. Why not?
702. WhatsApp John.
On 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. It's Monsignor from Joburg. I used to actually work at Carlton Centre. Just talking about probably over close to 20 years ago at Transnet, and I remember I used to go to the top of Africa, and I do believe that it's a place like top of Africa is something that can be really developed, and maybe Transnet, the building Carlton Centre can be a catalyst for the change that Joburg needs. Maybe they can start with that precinct and then they can move on from there. Yeah, thanks.
Good afternoon, John. This is Selma from Roodepoort. Years ago, I think it was 1975, I went out with a guy that worked for the Beers Industrial Diamond Division. They had their Christmas party at the top of the Carlton restaurant or dance floor, whatever. It was really very smart. I enjoyed that very much. Thanks for a lovely show. Bye.
Yeah, please do keep those coming. Now, the other thing that we're doing in this last hour of the show is we're going to finish off as we always do with music. One of the big news stories today was political fixer, as he says he is, or people say he is, and crime informant, as he says he is, and others dispute. Brown Mokhotsi was once again applying for bail today. The people opposing bail from the side of the state brought forward an affidavit saying that they discovered he had plans to actually escape from police cells while attending court. So we thought, escapes. Songs with the word escape in them. Here's one that we picked out.
If I could escape and recreate a place of my own world, and I could be your favorite girl forever, perfectly together, and tell me
Sounds of Gwen Stefani there. Give us your song. As I said earlier, you might not have been listening at the time. Don't worry if that was your song and it's been taken. We went online and looked. There are about 140 songs that have the word escape in the title. So I bet you can find one that is a favorite of yours. Send those please to 072 702 1702. It's 13 minutes past 5.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Chali, over to you.
Yes, John, thanks. Well, at this stage, in the Linwood area, there's bumper traffic. This is heading towards Centurion on the N1 southbound from Linwood Road all the way to Rigel Avenue due to an earlier accident. Equestria, expect some delays. This is on Solomon Mahlangu between Linwood Road and the N4. Still in Tshwane, Groenkloof, traffic congested on George Storer Road. This is between Du Toit and the Fountain Circle. In Nooitgedacht, heading into Soweto, traffic is crawling on the N17 westbound from the N1 to the Soweto Highway. Protea Glen, you can still expect delays on the R559 main road opposite GOG Gardens. Four ways, also slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive approaching Witkoppen Road due to roadworks. In four ways, slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive, or rather in Santon. Traffic is sluggish on the M1 northbound from Ethel Oaklands to the Patlu interchange, and in Edenville there's traffic is heavily backed up on the N3 southbound from Modderfontein Road to the Gililis interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Deciding to ignore the GPS may cost you a longer commute, but deciding to stay with your current car insurance could be costing you thousands of rands in savings a year. With Outsurance, 37-year-old Lerato saves a mind-blowing 599 Rand a month on her 2026 Kia Sonet. Switch to Outsurance today. You too could be one quote away from having more money in your pocket every month. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings.
8 to midnight.
Hey, Brooke, it's interesting how we are able to raise the profile of an individual to the point where that person is called professor. When the moment of reckoning comes, we discover that actually this is just a nice auntie from KwaZulu-Natal. I'm talking about Mary Diaz. Remember, I've been asking them, I was told this one is deep in her understanding of current affairs. Then she started to speak and I said, come on, man. There are just some people that are just imposters. You see them from far, you say, that one, even the walk is not right. Neither walk.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Corporates that care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. This Wednesday at 8:50 a.m., Bongani Pingwa will be joined by Old Mutual's Chief Executive of Group Social Investments, Ndumiso Zulu, to talk about the work they're doing to help build a better South Africa. Tune in to 702 and join the conversation. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, walk the talk.
We're giving you millions of reasons to celebrate with our selection of Lucky Millions Lotto draws. You could claim major jackpots when you pick numbers from thousands of daily draws. Choose numbers on UK 49s, Euro Millions, and lots more from just 5 Rand per line. Enjoy more chances and more ways to win, all in one place. Grab your chance to celebrate extraordinary riches when you play Lucky Millions from Hollywood Bets. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Elevate your flying experience with Lift Premium. Enjoy even more space, comfort, and convenience with priority boarding, extra baggage allowance, and complimentary lounge access. Visit lift.co.za today.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Let's focus our attention then on the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. It's been, again, a very, very interesting day. Vusimuzi Matlala, the person that some people refer to as Cat Matlala, being questioned in some detail. And I think it's fair to say this is his first full day of questioning, because his first appearance involved him going through his own affidavit. Much focus on his relationship with yet another controversial figure, Hangwani Morgan Maumela, who earlier this year had significant assets confiscated by the Special Investigating Unit. Questions were being asked about the links between the two. Khomotso Modise, EWN reporter, who has been covering things. Khomotso, very good afternoon to you. It struck me today less kind of sparring about what questions can and can't be asked today. What kind of day was this for Mr. Matlala? It seemed to me, certainly when there was questions around business with Gauteng Health and I think in most people's minds, Tembisa Hospital, he was, how would I put it, gave information in small and gradual answers.
Good afternoon, Dr. John. Yes, that's true. There was less interjection from Vusimuzi Cat Matlala's lawyers, also less pauses from him with him trying to invoke his rights not to incriminate himself. And I think that's because that was settled at the very beginning of proceedings in the morning, where we heard Advocate Masapi Sillo, the evidence leader who was leading Matlala, bringing a letter from the NPA which addresses a claim that Matlala had been making about two recordings that he claims police are investigating, and he might be linked to certain crimes through them, and as a result he claimed he could not comment. These include issues around Shadrach Sibia as well. He kept on saying, I can't comment because there's these recordings where I've already said things to police, and as a result I invoke my right not to incriminate myself. But that was dealt with by the commission very early during the proceedings, and it was said by the chair, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, that they will not be allowing him to use that as a blanket statement whenever he feels like he doesn't want to answer certain questions posed by the commission. So when he started testifying, then he actually at most points had no choice but to give details that the commission was asking for. For example, his relationship with Morgan Hangwani Maumela. He gave details about how he met Hangwani, their interest, them sharing an interest for sports cars, and eventually how that grew into a relationship where they were working together in the securing of tenders. He gave details about how they would go about securing the tenders, the amounts of money that he says they would put together in a fund, and they would use a supplier to share that money with or to give the money to, and then the supplier would then pay them whenever they would secure or score a tender. All of that he gave details to the commission, really painting a picture about his relationship with Morgan Hangwani Maumela. And I think it was interesting to see how the commission also was able to get Vusimuzi Cat Matlala to link Morgan Hangwani Maumela to the likes of Mswazi Msibi, Jotham Msibi, who is an alleged crime kingpin as well, alleged boss of this Big Five drug cartel. And I think we made a lot more progress today at the Madlanga Commission with the testimony of Vusimuzi Cat Matlala.
So in terms of I seem to notice a moment where Advocate Sisi Baloyi, one of the three commissioners sitting alongside Justice Matlanga, or the two commissioners sitting alongside Justice Matlanga, suggested that their business relationships, and I'm talking now about the questions asked about his relationship with Jotham Msibi, went beyond simply providing security for the late Jotham Msibi. On what grounds, what motivated her to suggest that there was more to the relationship than Mr. Matlala was putting forward?
Well, the evidence that's been presented really suggests that there was more of a relationship. I mean, firstly, Vusimuzi Cat Matlala has said that Msibi considered him a son.
He says at some point he would ask him for other things outside of their business relationship. Like at some point he wanted to buy, this is Msibi, who wanted to buy a Rolex watch for his wife, and he asked Matala where he got his Rolex watch. But there were WhatsApp messages that were presented, which I think Matala couldn't deny and he couldn't explain. And these are WhatsApp messages of conversations between himself and Msibi that point to proofs of payment that Matala is sending to Msibi. And in one of the messages, he says that this is the account that Maumela should be paid in, to suggest that they were making payments, or Msibi was making payments for some reason to Morgan Hangwani Maumela. And this was an important theme, John, because Vusmozi Matala's testimony initially was that he's not aware of any payments or transactions that were being made between Mswazi Msibi and Hangwani Maumela. Yet here we are with several transactions ranging from 300,000 Rand to about 1.3 million Rand. And this proof of payment, or these proofs of payment that Matala is sending to Msibi, seem to point to some sort of transactions. And what's being inferred in the WhatsApp messages is that while the payments were not being made to Maumela's account, they were being made ultimately to reach him.
It's interesting. I mean, when someone is presented with a WhatsApp where they have passed on a proof of payment, I would have thought it's fairly difficult to explain that. What explanation did Mr. Matlala offer?
Didn't have an explanation, Judd. He really struggled. At some point, as you may have heard in the 5 o'clock bulletin, there was a lot of stuttering, and at some point he read the WhatsApp message back, almost trying to make sense of it seemed, and then he conceded, saying, yeah, he can see what he's saying in this WhatsApp message. And of course, there was a bit of a chuckle in the auditorium with all those listening, realizing what was happening in terms of him really digging the hole deeper, if you ask me. And, at some point he said he cannot answer about things that he does not remember. He kept on saying he doesn't remember a lot about these payments. And he says that's because he would deal with large sums of money, millions at a time, all the time. And so he doesn't really remember what payments were for. He doesn't really remember what he meant in the WhatsApp messages. And this is something that the commissioners have rejected, and John. They've rejected the idea that this Muzi Matlala could just forget payments to the tune of 3 million Rand,
yes,
and what exactly they were for, especially because he was the one actively participating in this WhatsApp messaging and conversation with Mswazi Msibi.
Thanks so much, Khumotso Modise, EWN reporter. The Madlanga Commission resumes tomorrow at 9:30. We'll be keeping a very close eye on what is said, what questions are asked, and what answers are offered. It remains an extraordinary and intriguing window into what's going on in that part of South African life. And by the way, if you missed our interview with Karen Dolly between 4 and 5, I really do urge you to pick it up on primemediaplus.com. On our website, the book she's written is called The Untouchables, Drug Lords, Dirty Cops, and South Africa's Darkest Secrets. Much of what's being covered at the Madlanga Commission also comes up as a strong theme through that book. And Karen was a great guest with some very, very interesting things to say. primemediaplus.com, that's where you'll find a podcast of the conversation we had. 26 minutes past 5.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabota, 1 to 3 p.m.
Do you know those people like you've never known them to be single? I've known people who I have never known them to be single. Some people struggle with being single. They love being in love. Kumo in Pretoria.
I know quite a few. Hey, these people, they claim that when they are single, Mara, they are dating our people.
Yo!
Behind closed doors.
Yo! Kumo, girl.
No, honestly, these ladies are sneaky. These guys are sneaky.
Kumo, you know too much on this subject matter. Are you talking about yourself?
No. I mean, I'm happily in a relationship.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabota.
Let's walk the talk.
Still renting? It's time to get your name on the title deed. The team at SA Home Loans believes that you should own the life you want. And that starts with speaking to the passionate specialists at SA Home Loans. They will make it happen. To find out more, visit sahomeloans.com or call 0860 246 810. It's time to start owning the life you want. SA Home Loans is a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
A bigger and better national lottery is here. Play Powerball, Lotto, Daily Lotto, Match Day, and Instant Games. It's your chance to win big. Available at participating retailers, online, and on your banking app. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizakai.
Welcome to Nando's Taste-Demonials. It's the flavor! Real reviews by real people. Dolly from Boertersig is vegetarian-ish, with a reputation to uphold. Here's what she whispered about the half chicken and a single side for $1.25.
What? I don't eat chicken, but for Nando's, I make the exception.
Well, good thing there's a salad on the side for appearances. Of course, Nando's. Oh, what a place.
This is the sound of Kate's heartbeat when we asked her if she will be able to maintain her standard of living when she retires. This is the sound of Kate's heartbeat when we told her that she can get an RA or switch her current RA on the FNB app with a starting monthly contribution of only 300 Rand. Plus, she could get great tax benefits.
Sure.
Switch to FNB and take full control of your money matters. Help changes everything. T's and C's apply. FNB Investor Services Pty Limited, an authorized financial services provider.
EWN Business.
29 minutes past 5, time to catch up with what's happening on the markets and say good afternoon once again to Muteo Juaripe.
Yeah, let's wrap up what happened then on the JSE. But before doing that, international news. Canada has announced retaliatory tariffs against the United States, matching dollar for dollar the 50% duties that President Donald Trump imposed over the weekend after a breakdown in trade talks. Ottawa's new tariffs encompass more than 700 US goods and are worth about $20 billion, mirroring the size of Trump's latest import taxes on Canadian wine, cement, hockey sticks and other products. Then back home, seeing how the markets closed, it needed a miracle, and a miracle did happen. The JSE up 116 points after banking stocks surged more than 1% right before market close. Industrials were flat, mining shares also down 0.5%, but those banking stocks helping to lift the JSE and end the day in positive territory. The rand at this hour, 15 Rand 96, up close to 0.5% against the US dollar, 18 Rand 63 against the euro, and 21 Rand 76 cents gets you a British pound. Price of gold at $4,631 an ounce, and platinum is down 1% at $1,860. Brent crude at $89.45 a barrel. And looking at the money show and what we have in store for tonight, we've been talking a lot about Johannesburg because, of course, the local elections coming up in November. Tonight we talk about the unpaid municipal bills from Johannesburg ballooning to 15 billion Rand. We'll be talking to Anne Bernstein, the executive director and founder of the Center for Development and Enterprise, about how we can really fix the city and make sure things turn around. Then Transnet, of course, offloading some landmark assets, among them, of course, that a big iconic Johannesburg building, the Carlton Center. We'll be talking to Professor Jan Havinger, a logistics professor at Stellenbosch University and director of Gain Group. Then we'll look at the MTN results that have come out for the full year, looking at their growth prospects and also how those key areas in Nigeria and Ghana help to lift the MTN group. We'll be talking to Ralph Mupita, the MTN CEO. Later on the show, this week marks 2 years since the two-pod retirement system was introduced. We'll be looking at the positives as well as some of the negatives with Warren Ingram, co-founder of Galileo Capital, and that will be, of course, in our personal finance feature. All that and more after 6.
Right, let's find out what's happening out on the roads. Karabo Charlie has got his eye on Pretoria, but before we do that, let's get the very latest eyewitness news with Mbali Dlamini.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Human trafficking survivors are calling for justice in a case involving 4 young Johannesburg women allegedly sold into prostitution. In 2022, the women from Eldorado Park were lured to Durban under the guise of a sales job. 2 men, including a prominent businessman, appeared at the Durban Magistrates Court today on charges related to the matter, including trafficking, sexual assault and kidnapping. In attendance was also members from the Survivors Unite Against Exploitation, an organization for victims of human trafficking, spokesperson Jordan Cupido.
This case should have been already in the courts years before. God is good, we're here now, it's happening. This is groundbreaking and this is very important, especially with regard to the bill that's on the president's table now. People have a mindset that until it happens to them, they don't really care. If it's not me, if it's not my child, it's not my area, it's not my people. Human trafficking affects everybody.
The case against 3 men accused of killing 2 anti-gang unit officers and 2 women in Reiger Park will continue with the assigned magistrate in the Boksburg Magistrates Court. This after both the state and defence indicated they had no issue with Magistrate Sipho Manana presiding over the matter. Manana checked on their level of comfort after he revealed that he previously presided over a separate matter involving one of the accused. The 3 suspects appeared in court today to apply for bail following their arrest in connection with the mass murder earlier this month. Mongezi Koko reports.
The question of recusal emerged as the 3 accused continued their formal bail application in the Boksburg Magistrates Court. Magistrate Sipho Manana told the court that he had previously presided over a separate bail matter involving accused number 1 Regan Collins. He then asked the state and the defence whether his previous involvement with Collins could create any concern about him continuing to hear the current matter. But both sides agreed that there was no reason for the magistrate to recuse himself. Manana will therefore continue to preside over the bail application of Collins, Meyer and Crawford.
Considering that there is no objection between the state and the defence, I will assume that we should proceed with this bail application.
Collins is also facing several other pending cases, including 2 counts of murder and attempted murder. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
And Germany has deported 23 Afghan men, saying most of them were offenders convicted of violent crimes. This comes as the government seeks to show a tougher stance on illegal immigration ahead of elections next month. The men, who were subject to deportation orders, had largely been convicted of serious offences. The Interior Ministry says in total, Germany has sent back 228 Afghan men since Chancellor Friedrich Merz took power in May of last year. A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, lows of between 4 and 9 degrees and highs of between 26 and 27.
City of Tshwane, Linwood expect about a 20-minute delay on the N1 southbound from Linwood Road to Rigel Avenue. In Equestria, also expect some delays on Solomon Mahlangu. This is between Linwood Road and the N4. Nooit Gedacht heading into Soweto, traffic crawling N17 westbound from the N1 to the Soweto Highway.
The top story in EWN, human trafficking survivors are calling for justice in a case involving 4 young Johannesburg women allegedly sold into prostitution.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Was there anything wrong in the DA's mind having 2 people at an ANC rally like this?
No, we don't think that there is at all. Being in a political election, you're watching what your opponents are doing, and we saw that this was an open rally for anybody to attend, and we thought, well, why not?
Why would DA members degrade themselves to that level? It's not like there was something special. The ANC, they're just running a poverty system. They even brag about, we instituted to the Mazanga Commission. To deal with their own corruption.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Planning for retirement doesn't have to be overwhelming. Join PPS on 19 September for its annual retirement summit. If you're under 45, David Mashabela will guide conversations on wealth building. If you're over 45, Bruce Whitfield will share insights on how one idea can unlock meaningful outcomes. Each program is designed for your life stage with a meal, networking and practical insights for your financial future. At only 150 Rand per person, book now at pps.co.za/retirement summit. PPS, success is better shared and a clearer plan PPS is a licensed life insurer, controlling company, and authorized FSP.
A bigger and better national lottery is here. Play Powerball, Lotto, Daily Lotto, Match Play, and Instant Games. It's your chance to win big. Available at participating retailers, online, and on your banking app. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sisakai.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
South African motor manufacturing, that industry facing a lot of job losses as local production, of course, falls.
One of the South African automotive master plan is the ambition to reach a local content of 60%. So I think about COVID, we were around 42%, but that has stagnated to below 38.5% in 2025.
Nduduzo Kala Nakam, Chief Operating Officer.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show is brought to you by ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking. Across West Africa, Genza Energy is strengthening reliable energy supply with more than 334 megawatts of installed generation capacity, while building the infrastructure needed for future growth. Through a EU 456 million rand financing facility, ABSA CIB is proud to support Genza's progress. That's how we're invested in your story. ABSA is a registered FSP.
EWN Sport.
Tola Kelly Mganga with the very latest sports. Unavoidably, there's lots of conversation around the Springboks and the upcoming match against the All Blacks. But you know what? We've got some Betway Premiership football as well at the start of a season that looks like it might be quite close, Tola Kelly.
Absolutely, John. And we do start with some rugby. That's where Rassie Erasmus insists that Bongimbo Nambi remains part of his Springbok plans amid a prolonged injury that resulted in him missing rugby's greatest rivalry series against New Zealand. Bonambi last played for South Africa against Argentina in the Rugby Championship last year, and he missed the majority of the 2025-26 season for the Sharks due to injury. And with a year to go until the next World Cup, Erasmus has shared if the hooker features in his thinking for that tournament.
Bonge had a knee and then it's a lower back thing, so he keeps us up to date and we WhatsApp every now and then to ask how he's doing. But obviously the Sharks medical team must clear him first. So hopefully, I'm not 100% sure which of the two injuries is keeping him out right now. But as I say, you know, we can't pull him in here and let him play a first match again, a test match, you know. So we'll have to get him in and see him playing maybe a few Currie Cup games. Then maybe we can consider him again.
4 games are scheduled in the Betway Premiership this evening, including Marumo Gallants at home to TS Galaxy, while Orlando Pirates are up against Kukune United. Sebastian Pedersen will be hoping to get another run out, having impressed coach Abdeslam Wadu during the first leg of the MTN8 semi-final against the same opponents on Saturday.
He's going in the space that we want to find him. He's able to find the deep. We are able to find him in the pocket. His technical quality is very interesting. I am sure that he's going to really to help the team. The basics in football, even you have such quality, you need a good preparation. You need to be ready physically. And we can see today that after 15 minutes, he was short physically.
England captain Joe Root admits he's disappointed after another incident involving a teammate at a nightclub. This time around, it resulted in Bryden Carse being dropped for this week's second test against Pakistan. Social media video showed Carse in handcuffs and being escorted by police officers after his rowdy behaviour at a Derby nightclub on Saturday night. Carse's actions mirror those of Harry Brook, Ben Duckett, Gus Atkinson and former captain Ben Stokes, behaviour which has led to accusations of a drinking culture amongst the players.
It's not the isolated incident itself. I think it's the fact that we continually keep making stupid mistakes away from the game and it's detracting from what we're doing on the field. What I will say is I think that actually we have an opportunity moving forward. Clearly, we're not portraying ourselves how we want to. I think we've got an opportunity to build a culture that's very strong, that something that we can be proud of, that's player-driven. And of course, that's not going to happen overnight.
And former Wimbledon champion Marketa van Rosva has appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport against her 4-year ban for missing a doping test last year. Van Rosva was issued the suspension in June after she didn't submit a sample when notified by a doping control officer in December. She's repeatedly denied doping and her current ban is due to end on June 21st, 2030. That's when she'll be turning 30. Tolagile Mganga
Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Right, let's get out into the traffic then. I mentioned a little bit earlier, perhaps a little bit too early, that we were going to look at what's happening in Linwood. But let's do that right now with Karabo Charlie. Good afternoon.
Yes, you can still expect about a 20-minute delay driving through the Linwood area. Heading towards Centurion, that's the N1 southbound from Linwood Road to Rigel Avenue. Equestria still in Tshwane. Expect some delays on Solomon Mahlangu between Linwood Road and the N4. Fairland, that's heading towards Roodepoort Soweto. Slow-moving traffic. This is on the N1 southbound from Bayers Nodia to 14th Avenue. Roodepoort traffic remains sluggish on Randfontein Road between Corlett and Adcock. Nooit Gedacht, this is traveling towards Soweto. Traffic crawling N17 westbound from the N1 to the Soweto Highway, Protea Glen, Soweto. Expect some delays on the R559 main road opposite GOG Gardens. And in four-ways, there's slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive approaching Witkoppen due to roadworks. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. Right, I think it's time that we actually have some music. But just before that, I just want to share with you a headline. Some of you may have followed this story where former Minister of Health and somebody who occupied the international relations portfolio as well, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, made certain allegations against Ronald Lamula in regard to vote buying at ANC elective conferences. And Mr. Ronald Lamula, who's actually stepped into one of those portfolios that Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma held, i.e. the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, said he wasn't wanting to take the matter to court or anything like that, but he was looking for a retraction. And according to Newsroom Africa, Dr. Dlamini Zuma has actually stepped up and given that retraction. So I think that's just an important update on a story that was catching a lot of people's attention. Right, music. We decided that today we would focus on songs that have the word escape in the title. This was our choice from early in the day, but let's give you a full taste of Gwen Stefani, The Sweet Escape. Gwen Stefani from 2006, Akon involved in the writing of that song. Your favorite song, something you really, really like, that has the word escape in the title. And we were prompted to choose this as our theme with news coming out of the courts today that Brown Mokgotsi, who was applying for bail, was somewhat knocked off track, I would think it's fair to say, with an affidavit from Correctional Services saying that they had evidence that he was actually planning to leave without any kind of permission, i.e. escape from custody while he was in police cells at the court. So, your song with escape in the title, please. 072 702 1702. It's 13 minutes to 6.
Perfectly together, and tell me, boy,
last 24 hours. This is what's happened in your world.
The U.S. has announced a host of sanctions against Iran and threatened its supporters in what Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says is the single greatest financial offensive ever. The announcement comes almost 6 months into a war on Iran that has ground to a stalemate, with stalled peace talks in Tehran blocking most traffic through the Strait of Hormuz.
And nations that facilitate any interactions with the regime should quickly heed our message. Those who stand with the United States will reap the rewards of our partnership. Those who tether themselves to the Iranian regime should expect to share in the isolation.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Everyone has their first, that life-changing moment when the music spoke to your soul and you both listened. With global icons Kamasi Washington, Angelique Kidjo, Themba Mkhize and Africa Mkhize, Ibrahim Malouf, Flowetree, Manana, Internet Ati, and over 40 world-class acts. This is Jazz Reignited, the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz, 25th and 26th September. Buy your weekend pass now via Ticketmaster.
It's a good thing you're naked in traffic, because what if the highway is jammed during rush hour and you're the reason why? With Naked, you can request tow truck assistance instantly on the app. Go to naked.insure now and get comprehensive car insurance at a lower premium. Because when bad things happen, it's a good thing you're naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
The Festival of Motoring, powered by Westbank, returns to the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit from 28th to 30 August. Experience thrilling track drives, supercars, drifting, 4x4 adventures, and the very latest in automotive innovation. Book your tickets now on Howler, the Festival of Motoring, where legacy meets innovation.
You'll drive 20 extra minutes, walk past 3 competitors, ignore every special sign just to get to your place, your bakery, your bookshop, your car wash, your family restaurant. Because loyalty doesn't always choose the closest, it chooses the best. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Rewarding the local businesses and entrepreneurs that have earned that place in your life. The businesses that deliver every time and keep you coming back for more. Go to primemediaplus.com now to view the awards categories and nominate the business that's earned your loyalty. Because if they're worth the drive, they're worth the nomination. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Less admin, more time for what you love. Yoko, let's grow on 702 and primemediaplus.com.
702. WhatsApp John.
She got a hold on me.
702.
1702.
Okay, we are asking you for songs that have escape in the title. We're getting some good suggestions. Ashford and Simpson is on the list. Looking forward to hearing that. Please send us your voice notes or your texts on 072 702 1702.
Good afternoon, John. Always great to hear you on the radio. The song with the title, with the word escape in its title, that I can think of is the Pina Colada song, which I think is also known as the escape song. Cheers, Dinesh.
I was tired of my lady. We'd been together too long. Like a worn-out recording of a favorite song. So while she lay there sleeping, I read the paper in bed. And in the personal columns, there was this letter I read. If you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, if you're not into yoga, if you have half a brain, if you like making love at midnight in the dunes on the Cape.
Yeah, I didn't know that song was actually called Escape, but it is Escape. The Pina Colada song. And it's British-born American singer-songwriter Rupert Holmes. That was actually his 5th album. I didn't even know who the song was by. But that was a song that, to me, always divided opinion. There were some people who thought it was absolutely corny. I know there was some laughing about the song. It tells a particular story, but it did really, really well. It was the final US #1 song of the 1970s. It was a huge, huge success. So maybe you can tell me, did you love it or hate it? And your own Escape song suggestions, please. That was Rupert Holmes. Okay, now what else have we got? We've got Keisha is suggesting this one. The title of the song is simply Escape. Kelani is the artist.
Never did I think I want you. Always seen you round my way. Never had the strength to tell you. I kinda sorta think you're great. Strange for me to wanna love someone who's bad all by themselves. Hate to know I made you crazy for myself. Cause I don't want you thinking that my love's in vain. Cause baby I've been falling for you, but falling back about your way. I can't let you lose yourself looking for me, and I can't let you make me yours.
Kelani from 2017. That one's called Escape. And Kabasela was just reminding me, actually, I hadn't heard Kelani before, but I was introduced to her, as I have been to many, many artists, by Randall Abrams. Randall, of course, with us on Friday at 10 to 5 with Randall's one song. Let's do your song right now. A song, please, with the word Escape in the title. JRQ takes us to Enrique Iglesias. Again, simply called Escape.
Here's how it goes. You and me, up and down, but maybe this time we'll get it right. Worth the fight. 'Cause love is something you can shake. When it breaks, all it takes is some trying. If you feel like leaving, I'm not gonna make you stay. But soon you'll be finding you can run, you can hide, but you can't escape my love. You can run, you can hide, but you can't escape my love. If you go, you should know it's hard to
Enrique Iglesias, songs with Escape in the title, coming thick and fast. Here's another.
Good afternoon, John and the team. My favorite song, actually, it's the title, is Jenny. I started listening to Jenny when I heard Don't Stop Believing, and then eventually caught on to some of their songs, and it was really nice. Have a lovely evening. Cheers. Job. Okay, go.
He's just a young boy out of school, living his world like he wants to. They're making laws that they don't understand. Turns them on to a fighting man. They won't take me. They won't break me. No one can tell him what to do. Had to learn everything the hard way. He's on the streets making
The title track, actually from Journey's 7th studio album, Escape. That song opening up side 2 in the days when albums actually had different sides. Of course, That would be a very strange concept to some of the younger people listening, although I'm sure you've come across an LP at some point. Matt, I mentioned, Ashford and Simpson, is keen for us to play this one. It's called Tonight We Escape.
Tonight we escape. Tonight we create something beautiful. Tonight there'll be fire, burning desire. When I hold you tight. Tonight we escape. Tonight we create something beautiful.
Yeah, it's wonderful the way when you have a theme, you get such a mix of music. So from Journey to Ashford and Simpson, quite a jump, but both consistent with the theme. One more, this suggestion, no name given to us, but they want to hear Pearl Jam. This one's called Quick Escape. Pearl Jam bringing us to the end of today's edition of 702 Drive. I'm John Perlman. From me and the rest of the team, hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday night. If you're on your way to Ellis Park, enjoy the game. The Lions against the All Blacks. If you haven't made plans to go there, well, get going now. You can make it just in time for a 7 o'clock kickoff. From all of us, good night.
And now, The Money Show with Moteo Paripe.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grotus is brought to you by Absa CIB, proud to support Gensa Energy's investment in the infrastructure powering West Africa's growth. Tonight on The Money Show, we dial into MTN's growth and the results coming out from the company saying service revenue up 17.5%. We chat to Ralph Mopita, the Group CEO of MTN,